All right, welcome to another episode of the O&G StrikeZone right here on the Black College Sports Network. Bryan Fulford, Marcus Green, Kelvin Rozier.
What up, yo?
What up, yo? How you guys doing? What's good? Marcus, you're looking a little short there. What's going on with the camera situation, Mark?
Oh, no.
Oh, there we go.
They're being messy in the chat already.
Already in the chats, huh?
Yeah.
There I go look. There I go look.
No, you should look.
I just want to say I did not throw you under the bus today.
Wow. Okay.
I did not do it.
I need to get. Oh man! Wow. See, I'm about to put EA in timeout. I'm gonna put EA in the corner. I'm about to put EA in the corner, boy. I tell you. What's going on, family? Welcome to another episode of the O&G StrikeZone right here on the Black College Sports Network. Good to be on with you. A lot of news going on, man. A lot of stuff happening. I'm trying to get my bearings straight as I had to kind of do a little double duty. Why don't we kind of start with the most current up-to-date news? Obviously, hurricane or tropical storm Helene is once again making, or I shouldn't say once again, but another hurricane or a weather system is making its way towards the Big Bend, Tallahassee area, southern Georgia, as it'll all projections. Kelvin, why don't we start there since you are our man on the ground in Tallahassee? Kind of give us an update, what you're hearing, et cetera, while I continue to kind of get some other stuff set up for us.
Well, we're taking this storm very serious. You know, it's been a while since we had a direct hit, and this is slated to come right at us, and it may get up to a Category 4. I don't think Tallahassee has ever had a Category 4 storm. As you remember, when we had tornado back in May, it destroyed campus and a lot of places in the town. You know, trees were everywhere. So, and I was without power for about 5 or 6 days. So, you know, it's looking kind of tough right now. But we're praying for the best, and maybe it'll shift a little left, a little right. Maybe we can keep the power on. You know, got my generators out. First time through all the storms I've always rode. I left my generators in the box, never used them, but I got them out tonight. So we'll see.
All right. And you said that was that storm, or that was tornadoes. That wasn't a hurricane or weather system. It was just kind of tornadoes.
Three tornadoes at once.
Man.
Yep.
Wow. All right. Well, we close school down here in Orlando for Thursday, tomorrow. You know, I understand. Look, ever since we had the 3 storms in, I think it was 05, 06, the 3 hurricanes that came through Central Florida in that 1 month. Ever since then, because it's crazy when having been down here 25 years, when I left Tallahassee and came to Orlando, these type of systems, people just kind of shrugged them off and were like, yeah, you know, it's coming through. It's not going to hit us. Nothing ever comes through the state, blah, 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 right? So, you know, we just know it's going to rain. It's going to be some wind. It's going to rain. But ever since then, if it has a even a 1% chance that it might turn. They're like, oh, we're canceling everything. And probably rightfully so, right?
Right.
Because when you don't predict it to happen and it happens, you have the tragedies and other things like that. So it's just a precaution, things that have to happen, and you just
It
deal with
don't
it, right?
take it. Yeah, it don't take but one time to be wrong.
Amen. There it is, right there. Doesn't take but one time to be wrong.
Yeah.
Only takes one time to be wrong. Well said. So, as a result of that, the biggest news before we can even kind of mention some of the other news and things like that. Obviously, what that means is that the game that was not the home opener, the SWAC home opening game, SWAC home opener against Alabama A&M that was scheduled for Saturday has been postponed until November 29th. Now, what's interesting on a couple fronts about that, it falls after the Florida Classic, which the Florida Classic would be our last regular season game. And it would be the week before the SWAC. Right? It would have normally given us a week off prior to the SWAC championship game, A. And B, it would have also, if we ended up in a scenario as we did in, what year was that? 21 or 22? Where we went to the playoffs.
21.
21. So, like in 2021, the only thing that kept us as an option for the playoffs is that we weren't going to the SWAC championship game and we didn't have any more regular season games. So that is now off the table. So this team really has only one option in front of it now for postseason play, and that's to get to the SWAC championship game and get to the Celebration Bowl. I'll start with you, Marcus, and then go to Kelvin. Just thoughts about the reschedule. Do you like and it's a Friday, apparently Friday is the 29th. Don't know if we know a game time yet. So, Kelvin, if you've heard anything, please feel free to share. Or Marcus. But I'll start with you, your reaction, thoughts on this, Marcus, and then go to you, Kelvin.
Well, I'm glad that FAMU, the SWAC, Alabama A&M, thought about the campus community first and the student athletes first and rescheduling the game. As far as the date, I know this is, I'd have to look. I think that's what's the day after Thanksgiving. So we will have a wide open audience, but I am kind of in terms of TV coverage, but I am curious to know in terms of participation, because that is a big weekend for travel for people who are traveling to visit relatives, but also for students to go home. So I'm wondering to what degree that'll be impacted. And also just the disruption, because we all know that sports teams especially are creatures of habit. And so this is another opportunity for adjustment and opportunity for being able to pivot. And actually, the first thing I thought about was way back. When was it? I don't know how long ago. I think it was the 90s. It may have been when I forgot who was the quarterback. It was a Miami and UCLA. And I think Miami went undefeated or something like that for the year. And they were supposed to play UCLA as a non-conference game.
That was Edgerrin James. Edgerrin James' senior year.
Okay. And it got rescheduled to later in the season. I guess maybe in the same weekend. And I think UCLA handed Miami a loss, if I remember correctly. I forgot who was the quarterback.
No, I think that's the other way around. That
was the other way around?
It was up because that was the game Edgerrin James just went off on a good day. They went off and ended up winning that game and knocking you, because like you said, UCLA was the team that was
undefeated or
number 2. They were in the BCS hunt and it knocked them out of the hunt.
So that's one thing that crept up on my mind when I first saw the reschedule. But first and foremost, just thankful all athletes and all people were considered, not only the team traveling, our home team, but also for the fans and not asking us to go out in the inclement weather not knowing how severe this is going to turn out in terms of damage and disruption to life.
Yeah, I see a lot of people in the chats, talking about the Thanksgiving weekend, potentially, what does that mean? Obviously, students won't be there. What does that mean for the band? A lot of things that, I'm sure they matter, but in comparison to why we had to move the game, it's minuscule, right?
Mm.
What kind of insights can you share on this, Kevin?
Well, from an operations standpoint, don't forget, most of the law enforcement would be tied up with recovery and maybe some rescue and so forth. So they wouldn't be able to support the event anyway. So that's another angle you have to consider. I know 2018, my last year in athletics, we had a Cat 1. It was really more of a tropical storm that came through. I believe it came through on a Thursday, Friday also. And we moved the game back till Sunday. And we played A&T on that Sunday. That's the one where where the fight happened, right?
Yep.
But this is a Cat 4. I mean, it's the right call to move the game. It just wasn't worth the risk. I don't know Sunday, knowing the kind of storm it is and how difficult it is to recover. And then again, not having security and be able to get around the city, it's the responsible thing to do. So I get it. It does take away an option for us in terms of being able to, if we slip up like against a Jackson State, end up tied with whoever we lose to on the east side, that it does take us out of consideration for an at-large bid. Remember, we're still the 21 ranked team by the coaches. Everybody see the talent on this team, so this team would be worthy of a at-large bid probably if they only had one loss to the SWAC champion. So, but that's out the window now. So, is Celebration Bowl a bust? We get another week to rest up, and then we'll go to Alabama State and have our first homecoming.
And we have, so let's look at the schedule. The scheduling kind of works out where we have another bye coming up, if I'm not mistaken. Is it after?
Yeah, it's after. I want to say it's before the Jackson State game. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so it's after Alabama State, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So we're basically kind of have a bye week, Troy, bye week, Alabama State, bye week. Then we kind of run with the rest of the season. Correct? Is that how our schedule looks?
Yeah, our back end of the schedule, like November, I think is very favorable for us. We got the end of the month of October. We have Southern at home. Then we have homecoming. Then we have Valley. Bethune in Orlando, and then Alabama A&M at home. So we got a lot of home games in the state of Florida games. We only go to Texas to peer review. So in that sense, I think it's very favorable for us. So we just have to maneuver the month of October, where it looked like we're gonna play two games in the course of 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah. A busy schedule in Tallahassee as Melvin Beal. Shout out to Melvin Beal, the voice, Rattlers Sports Network. Thanks for watching the show. Noting that Florida State's hosting UF that Saturday.
Right.
So that's a busy. And I'm going to give a shout out to Drew, because this is a great HBCU road trip for those who are able and interested. The Turkey Day Classic in Montgomery, right? Then you travel south to Tallahassee on Friday for the FAMU Alabama A&M game. Could be a crowning game for FAMU in the East. You know what I'm saying? Might be an opportunity there. and then traveling to the Bayou Classic on Saturday. So that's a heck of a road trip. If somebody's got those kind of wheels and got the ability to do it, that's a heck of a roadie, right? Somebody start planning that out if you can. All right. Instant reaction from Saturday's game while we're talking football here at the moment. I'm sure we'll get on to other things here shortly. But of course, Keith and I did some halftime and post-game stuff. Actually, Marcus was there for the halftime stuff. Keith and I did the post-game. Final score, FAMU 12, Troy 34. Kelvin, how upset were you on the drive home? What was that drive like after the game? Share your thoughts if you can after that game. I've sort of vented. I've gotten everything out, so it's like I have nothing left in the tank to talk about that game. So I really don't. So I'll go to you guys and let you guys kind of get it out your system.
Yeah, like a lot of other people probably was. I was, kind of frustrated at the end of the game. But then I thought about it, and as time went on, at the end of the day, we're FCS playing up FBS with a new staff, players in new roles. It's only game, 4? So, and we were in the game, playing less than perfect.
Yep.
We were in the game with opportunity to pull it out. So you have to respect the fact that our talent level is that caliber where we can compete with Group of 5 schools. I think it's very important that we play these games so that we can have a measuring stick outside of HBCU football. I think there's some value to that. I tell you, the most frustrating thing for me was letting one guy beat us. When I came on at halftime, before the game, we talked about it. When I came on at halftime and the score was 14-9, the first thing I said, number 7, don't kick to him. Don't let him beat you, double team him. And that was my biggest disappointment. There was other things that, in terms of our play calling inside the red zone, I don't think we went to our tight ends enough. I don't think that we tried to throw any kind of jump ball to our height, right? Haven't seen Pruitt. I just think we a little too predictable, which is why we've struggled the last 2 weeks in the red zone. I don't think we're not good enough where we can just line up and do the zone read in between tackles and expect the guy to make a play. Those things were dogging, blitzing, run blitzing, because they knew what was coming. So, and then of course we can't afford to have penalties at inopportune times. The good news is our kicking game was on point. But again, you don't kick the number 7, you don't punt the number 7, everything goes out of bounds, and you put your best guy on their best guy. And then you put a safety on top of that. Because that guy is just he's that dude. He's him. He's a bad man. He's one of the baddest players I've seen, man, since when we played A&T and they had Cohen. Tariq was like that. I was like, man, that's a pro. I can't be mad about it. So
he earned some money on Sundays, my man did. Yes, he did.
So I cannot be mad that those guys were struggling. Our second and third best guys were struggling to stay with this guy. The guy's a pro. We just have to accept that. Yep. He's damn good.
Beat by a pro. Yeah.
We let one guy beat us.
Yeah. I said this during the post-game show. Doggone it, the last 2 games, doggone number 7 in the wide receiving core has killed us the last 2 weeks in a row. That damn number 7. I hope we don't have to see any more number 7s on the outside edges for the rest of this SWAC season. Because right now, 7 is not our lucky number. Marcus, what do you got to
add? Pretty much the same thing. Like some of the sentiments, and I think we definitely competed, and in the first 2 or 3 quarters, it was very winnable. Now I don't know if it would have been, attrition in the fourth quarter, because by then some of the third quarter miscues had caught up with us and they started to extend the lead. But if it had been close in the third quarter, if we had come out, perhaps if we had scored a little more efficiently in the first half and perhaps come out in the second half with the second half opening kickoff and done some things, it might have made it really interesting. And I think my biggest disappointment was probably, uh, aside from red zone miscues in the first half, is probably we've shown the last year and a half, maybe the last 2 years, across the different coaching staffs that we make adjustments in the second half and come out. And when we went, was it 3 and out in the first drive of the second half and didn't get much movement, I was like, that was disappointing to me, because I was fully expecting us to march down the field like we had in the first half, and I knew they were going to make adjustments, but that we would tweak some things, take advantage of it, whatever we saw in the first half, and make things really interesting, and we didn't. And then there started being miscues, some stalled drives, some penalties, and then the game got away from us.
Yeah. I did see, so I want to, and I hope you guys did get it. And if you didn't, if you didn't catch our post game, I hope that you got a chance to see the post game interview with Coach Colsey by Vaughn, HBCUGameDay.com on the YouTube. We played it instantly. And I mean, shout out to Vaughn again, because Vaughn got that posted up while we were doing the post game show, and I was like, "Oh, here's the post game from Vaughn." So I just ran it. But I know for me, prior to hearing Coach Colsey explain what happened to Michael Smith, like there was the third drive, I thought was a missed opportunity for us, not knowing why we didn't kick that field goal.
Right.
Coach Colsey later explained that range, which I think would have been a 45-yarder, was just outside of the range for Gillis. Now, which is interesting because Gillis later kicked a 43-yarder. So what does that mean? That means anywhere from 40 to 45 is his range. And at 45, you're kind of like, that's usually where you probably give it over to Michael Smith. Well, Coach Colsey said we didn't have Michael Smith. Don't know the specifics. He was not available. I don't know if he's hurt or what. Wasn't available. So it took that card off the table, which had he been available or had we kicked that field goal, I think that game changes 100% because we're up 9-7, having scored on 3 straight drives. True, maybe field goals, but just mentally, I think that game changes if we're up 9-7. Am I on to something there? You guys agree, disagree?
I agree, and I'll just say this, since I see some comments about the coaching just in general. It's game 4. We played 2 FBS schools, so no, our defense is not up to standards right now of what we've seen over the last 3 years. Absolutely, that's fair. But you still got to give them time. The coaches, the players, they all learning each other as well as adjusting to the system. So, and we've played good competition. So I mean, you gotta take that. That's a factor, But that being said, what I would like for them to do is let the talent do a little bit more for them. I think they relying on their schemes and SSO. That's why they didn't really put Kendall on their guy until the end of the game. I think the fourth quarter. But I mean, common sense and just hearings and Joes. That game was a hearings and Joes game. It wasn't an S's and O's game. And Troy was smart enough to say, "Hey, we got this one hearing that is a problem, and we gonna go to them till the wheels fall off." Well, that's coaching. I mean, and it won in the game. So I think our coaches have to get a little bit of that, right? All this mentality of what we want to do and scheme, and we're 4-2-5, and you got a boundary safety and corner and a field corner. Hey man, when it's Harris and Jones on the field, baby, that goes out the window. Kendall, you got that guy. When he go to the sideline to get water, you get water too with him. That's all I'm saying. And then with Richardson on the offensive side, same thing, right? The guy done played a lot of football, man. Let him be able to check and call some plays from the line. If you're gonna run tempo, run a real tempo. Stop messing around with
it. Hey, Kendall, that guy's trying to go pro. You're trying to go pro. You guard that guy. There it is. Everybody else get out the way. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't want to overcomplicate it. Don't overthink it sometimes, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So real quickly, there it is. Hold on, where's it at? Again, come on. There it is. Final score, 34-12. The SWAC specialist of the week happened to be Cameron Gillis on the heels of his 4 field goal performance. So shout out to Cameron, one bright spot in that contest. I know we gave him lots of opportunities, and woosah. You know, we'll kind of move forward and try to piece it all together from there. All right, before we go to break, let me give a quick shout out, Marvin Allen. Hey, it was supposed to be it was not supposed to be. It will be his birthday this weekend, and was planning to come watch his daughter in the 100. So Marvin, we give you an early happy birthday shout out. Thank you for the contribution and support in the show, my man. Yeah. We're gonna pray and hope that you have a great 55th birthday, regardless. You know, so shout out
Double
to
Nichols. Happy birthday, Double Nichols.
Double Nichols. Y'all make sure to hit up Marvin in the chats there if you're watching on YouTube. Give him an some early birthday love, man. I'm sorry that you won't be able to be in Tallahassee this weekend, but there'll be more great weekends ahead. All right, coming up after the break, we got another event that was unfortunately affected by this rescheduling and the weather. Was our FAMU Sports Hall of Fame weekend, which had to be postponed. Who is it who sent the tweet or the text regarding that? Did you send that, Kelvin?
Yeah, and also it was Parents Weekend.
Parents Weekend, yes.
Yeah, it was a lot of stuff going on scheduled for this weekend. So
a lot of plans had to change. You know, it happens in life, and so but that doesn't mean that we don't get a chance to talk to a Hall of Famer, because we will. He's still going in as a Hall of Famer. So coming up on the other side, Mr. Rick Kinsey, a class of 2024 FAMU Sports Hall of Famer, will be joining the show. Friend of the program, will be coming up after the break. So hang in there with us. You're watching the O&G StrikeZone right here on the Black College Sports Network. We'll be back in just a moment.
If you think all pads are exactly the same, think again. This is Always Ultra Thins reinvented with the Always Triple Protection System. This pad wicks gushes 90% faster, absorbs even more so you can feel dry, and locks odors in. Rethink your pad for up to 100% leak-free and odor-free comfort with the totally reinvented Always Ultra Thins. This is always like never before.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
Nope. Nope.
Come on, him?
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up message quicker and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
This is Bryan Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show. All right, welcome back to the O&G StrikeZone. Bryan, Marcus, Kelvin here. Want to read the statement from the chairman of the FAMU Sports Hall of Fame, Marvin E. Green Jr. Dear Rattlers, we would like to officially announce the postponement of the 2024 FAMU Sports Hall of Fame enshrinement ceremony. Due to the impending inclement weather from the potential tropical storm that is expected to grow into a major hurricane, we will delay the enshrinement ceremony until a later date this year. The first priority is safety, and for the residents of the Big Bend area, as well as those who would potentially be traveling to the area. It was our decision as the steering committee not to put anyone possibly in harm's way. In light of the university's closing on Thursday and Friday, no activities are allowed on campus during the closure. This factor is secondary to the effort to respect the safety of all involved. While we are disappointed and we know our class of 2024 is as well, we want to ensure that the celebration is able to be achieved at the highest level of presentation. We can't wait to don each of the honorees with their green jackets. We will be coordinating with the university to reschedule the ceremony. We will inform you all as soon as we have the information. Again, we apologize for the inconvenience, and we will contact you all as soon as we are able to coordinate another date with the university and the Department of Athletics. So again, there were 11 members that were to be enshrined this weekend into the 2024 class. Athletes such as Andrea Aaron, women's track and field, Tracy Parker, volleyball, Charles Hobbs Sr., posthumously football, Harvey Cooper, baseball, and Philip Poncho Malcolm, posthumously for baseball. Coaches who would have been in this ceremony are George Ellis of swimming and diving, Coach Mike Gillespie of men's basketball, and then a quartet of contributors and supporters such as FAMU athlete supporter, Reverend Dr. R.B. Holmes, contributor Ella and Lloyd Cobbs, and our next guest, none other than friend of the program, Rick Kinsey. Mr. Kinsey, congratulations, and how you doing this evening, sir?
Hey, I'm doing well. Can you guys hear me?
We got
yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I'm doing extremely well. In spite of the storm that's coming, I'm happy to be on your show. As always, you guys are the best, man. You keep Rattler Nation informed on all things FAMU. And what I love about it is your truth, and you call it like you see it. So I thank you guys so very much for inviting me to the show.
Well, we're glad to have you. Let me read the great bio, because the great words of people like probably Mr. Alvin Hollins, FAMU Hall of Famer, probably put these together. Ricardo Kinsey has been one of the university's most active contributors. FAMU recognized him for his dedication to the General University with a ceremony at the Eternal Flame, along with contributing to the General University and ROTC program. Kinsey had contributed substantial donations to FAMU athletics. While he has contributed to several large projects, he has taken a special interest in FAMU's golf program. He spearheaded an initiative and raised the funding to support motorized golf courts for the golf team. Recently, he spearheaded with his own funds a putting course inside the new golf locker room. Great words. And I'm assuming, Mr. Kinsey, you got a chance to see. We saw the contribution and what the result. What was your thoughts as you saw that those rooms and just being there for when the golf team unveiled their new putting course and all the areas there that's going to help keep us being a championship golf program?
Man, I tell you, it was amazing and breathtaking. This was a undertaking that took place back in April, during 1887. Myself and Dr. Pickett, we were in Boston for 2 weeks, and when we saw that they had won the national championship, we called Mike Rice up and 80 Sykes. I tell you, this was the fastest response I've ever received from FAMU. I said, hey, look, we're going to go ahead and purchase the guys' rings, and we got a surprise for you guys a little bit later on. So when we knew that they wanted something special, because, again, as you all know, those Olympic sports don't get the support that it needs. And our golf team has been good for a while. You know, but because it's an Olympic sport, it doesn't get the publicity that the football team or the basketball team gets. These guys, what they won the SWAC, and then the SWAC, and then, of course, just most recently, the national championship. So they're on the radar, but they are some smart kids. And I mean, man, they just golf themselves off like you would not believe. So we didn't know about the significance of what it was going to look like. And so when Coach called and said, hey, man, can we get you and Keith Stubbs and Maurice Pickett come on up on the 9th of August? We got a special surprise for you. And I'm like, okay, well, we'll make that trip. You know, it's not football season yet, but this is a great introduction into football. And when we got there, of course, it was supposed to take place. The timing of it was about 10, but due to the good work that they did, the unveiling of Eddie Jackson, I say, hey, I'm okay. You can postpone this thing to tomorrow because we're not on that level with Eddie Jackson. Okay, and all the great things that Eddie did, and we got a chance to see that, and that was great. But I tell you, man, it was. I have supported FAMU across the board, but when you see this and you understand the significance and the difference that it's going to have in these student athletes' lives, it's just heartwarming, man. It makes you realize that this work that we do quietly as this kept is well deserved. And when we went in there and saw that, you know, the interim Beard was there, interim president Beard, and hey, you guys got to go see it. That's all I can tell you. And the way they had that thing wrapped, and you know, it was just breathtaking, man. So I'm glad we were part of. We were able to be a part of that.
Nice. Go ahead, Kelvin.
Rick, man, you do so much, man. You travel all over and follow the football team with your RV. And so, why is it so important to you? Why are you so passionate? And I know you just don't, like you say, you don't just support sports. You support almost every initiative. I know you military, you support those groups. Tell me why it's so important.
Well, first and foremost, man, it's about the students that go to FAMU, right? Everyone on this cast, you all went to FAMU and you know what it was like when you were there. Okay. And often I always say, you know, my parents have a saying about, son, don't complain, do your part. Now, my part was kind of forced upon me because most of you might not know, but I've had 4 kids who graduate from Fordham University, just about my whole family. So if you go to Coleman Library, you'll see the kids and family bricks and everybody that has graduated. And so in totality, I might have over 40 to 50 relatives in this entirety that graduated from FAMU. And oh, by the way, I got a granddaughter there now as a freshman. So the Kinsey legacy continues to go on.
There you go.
When your parents tell you to not complain, do your part, we all have a role to play in the betterment of our young adults. So I felt compelled that after serving the military, as I like to say, I served this country, so now I need to find something else to do. Why not serve Florida University? More importantly, the students who attend FAMU, okay? Right. And so I always say, you know, Rattlers, we brag different. And I believe in the orange and green. My philosophy is give more green than orange. We can brag a lot. And I'm from that old school that before I ask somebody to do something for me, I'm gonna do it for myself. And I think it's only right to lead from the front. So as
That's
you
right.
stated, Kelvin, you know, when you look at how we support FAMU in its totality, it's just not athletics. You know, it's ROTC, and it's just FAMU in general. When you think about, most people don't know this, but over at the foundation, I have established 5 endowments. Okay, plus what we just recently did 2 years ago, which was the Rattlers Battalion Leadership Legacy. And I got to tell you guys, in 2 short years, we have already provided over 35 scholarships to students at Florida University. So when you ask, why do I do this? It's because I was that child. We were all there at Florida University, and these young kids don't know about eating a piece of bread. That was what we call a sandwich. Okay. And I know this whole Holly, you all know this. When I tell my daughter, when I come to, every time I would come up there, let's go out to dinner, you know, it's Chipotle. They and then before you know it, she had her whole crew jumping in the back of the truck. So, but when I tell you, man, when you see the support that you provide, right? And I give scholarships to kids from my local high school, as you might know, Kelvin, the Tampa Bay Tech. When a kid calls you and says, "Sir, I want to thank you, Mr. Kenzie, for your support," it makes you want to do more. Okay. And when I was here at U.S. Special Operations Command here in Tampa, one of the leaders there had a saying about, you know, do not let your enthusiasm exceed your capabilities. But what are you going to do? More importantly, what have you done to help somebody today?
Right.
And I take that to heart. So I tell you, it's the kids. And I always say, I don't get caught up in the politics of FAMU. That's not what my concern is. And I remember when my mother told me, because again, you all know, you get frustrated at some of the decision making that goes on in FAMU. I'm no different than you. You know, I get mad with the president. I get mad with the AD. I get mad with the coaches. And whenever I get mad, my mom always says that, okay, I hear you, son, but your role at Florida FAMU University is to help the students. She say, you know, your parents got a way of saying certain things to you.
Yeah.
And they drop the mic on you, if you will. She said, I'm going to leave you with this. Your father and I, faith is in God, not the preacher. Then she has to take the dog out. Then I say, wow, that was a nugget my mom just dropped. So what I tell you is this, man, it's about the kids, man.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm so grateful. And like they say, to whom much is given, much is required. So, you know, I got $5 more than what I had when I was at Florida University. Okay. The struggle was real. So now I take that $5 extra to try to make a difference in some kids' life at Florida University. So that's why I do it. It's about the kids, man.
Well, thank you, man. That's a beautiful sentiment. And it is important for me to feature people like yourself, because we want that to be contagious. We want Rattler Nation at large. Like you say, a lot of us talk about bragging different and so forth. And even what you said about our role, a lot of times we do want to, you know, have a say, and, you know, I even myself sometimes.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it really is about the students and making FAMU better than when you inherited, when you came through, for the next generation. Like you, I have that same story. I have a bunch of family, probably at least 50 that's gone through those university, daughters who went to the university, sister, brother-in-law, wife. So, you know, hopefully another daughter when she get old enough. So yeah, I got you, man. I appreciate you.
What's always warming to me is I'm a first generation Rattler, right? So I'm not a first generation HBCU grad. You know, my parents are Norfolk State alums, but coming to FAMU was something I desired once, you know, all the way back to 40 years ago to this weekend. Matter of fact, when not just attending a Circle City Classic in Indianapolis, but seeing FAMU for that first time and hearing all the stories. My father wanted to go to Florida A&M, so it's kind of like I'm living his dream. Now, I didn't play in the band like he wanted to, but I'm just attending Florida A&M is sort of his dream. How do we reach this new generation? Obviously, you have kids and you get a chance to, and you're interacting with them. But I want, and it's something that I heard our new AD Suggs talk about in her opening press conference, was that giving this generation of students an experience like what we experience, because it is different. The younger the Rattlers over the last 10 to 15 years they're living in a different life and world than what we came up in. So when you travel, as you travel in the RV caravan, and you support and give and you talk to the students at Tampa Bay Tech, how do we reach? How do people like me and people who are watching us? How do we reach this next new generation of Rattlers and get them excited about the history and all of the things that attracted us to FAMU?
Well, you know, that's a very good question. And I think that over the past several years, you know, I can relate, right? Because my baby girl just graduated at 22. And now I got a freshman daughter, granddaughter that's there now. So as I travel and I talk to folks, when they see the orange and green, I try to let them know about, hey, you know, have you ever considered going to Florida University? Have you heard about it? What does it mean to you? And so as I talk to them, everything is about what they know. And so, you know, you talk about the band and the history of the band and what that looks like. And then more importantly, say, have you ever been to FAMU? And then if you haven't, because of the alumni associations that we have throughout, why don't you take a trip there? And, you know, these kids today, they're all about music, right? And so because we have the best band in the world, that's that conversation that you spark with them. Because at this point now, I'm a grandfather, right? So I'm that old dude. So when we're talking, you know, you have to kind of relate to them and say, hey, you know, meet them on their level, because they're in this new world I call the smartphone world. And they're no longer, you know, they never were in the typewriter mentality world. That's where we came up. And so you just have to talk about, and luckily for me, because I do interface with the kids over at Tampa Bay Tech a lot, I just listen, right? And of course, as I tell the FAMU story, when I talk about the shirt that I have on, you know, and the things and the great things that FAMU has done, a lot of them know the students that are currently attending FAMU, okay? And so you have to kind of, you know, massage it a little different. And because they have opportunities to go anywhere. One of the things is I start in the 8th grade when I go over to Tampa Bay Tech and talk to the kids, because that's middle school, right? And they go hit 9th grade. It's important. You don't go to college in the 12th grade.
Right.
Okay. And so you have to talk to them because they're interested. They just don't know.
Right.
Right. And so as I talk to them, you know, I had a football out of helmet. Sometimes I take it with me just to show me. They said, Mr. Gibbs, did you play for FAMU? I said, nah, but I tell you what, I feel like I did. Right. But I played at Tampa Bay Tech and I was a quarterback. So I brag about the little times I can't throw a football 15 yards, but you couldn't tell me that back in my day. Right. So what I do is I talk to my own kids. That's where it starts at, you know, because they are different. And I say, what made you go to FAMU? Now, my kids would tell you this. All right, they had a choice, but it was from Key West to Pensacola. Why they chose FAMU, I have no idea. Okay, not because their mother went there and the granddaddy, you know, so it was no influence like that. But your diploma won't go on that wall at grandmama's house. Okay, so Bryan, you know, I think that as we see these kids and we just talk about the history of FAMU, right? And you have to hit them with the current individuals that just recently graduated from Florida because they can relate to them. Now we have 4 individuals that are playing in the NFL. So when Xavier Smith just did something great, you talk about that, especially to the athletes, okay? That you too can get anywhere from Florida A&M University. But here's the other thing. There are people that live right here in the city that also attended FAMU, okay? There are teachers that are at that school that attended FAMU that can talk to them. And it's all about if they know. Too often we assume that they know. They don't. And then when they get a chance to go to visit, man, they come back with a whole total different perspective. And then now it's up to us. You know, I like to get them in the 9th and 10th grade. If you can get them and show them in the 9th and 10th grade, and when the President's Tour come here in November, because they always come here the week of when we play Bethune, you want to get as many kids exposed to the university, you know, go see that Presidential Tour. And that's what gets them, man. And then it's up to us to continue to provide information to them. So when that time comes, they can apply to Florida A&M University in their 11th grade year. It doesn't, you know, you don't, but Bryan, I think that's what I do. And I use the kids that are currently attending to talk to them as well.
Great point. I got one now. I don't know if you want to give this, but I'm gonna read it out the chat. Good friend of the program, Bull, jumps in. I'm gonna read this. I don't know if you want a dish on this here, Rick. He says,
okay.
Tell the story about the time you and your brother almost messed up your dad. Good job. I don't know if you want to go that deep. I don't know if Bull is just trying to get you in trouble.
You know, hey, look, and that's my frat brother. You know what I'm saying? These guys always coming up with something.
It'd be your own, right?
Yeah. You know, come on. Jesus Christ, bro! I can't do that, bro. You gonna take away my only black job, okay? Why you want to take my black job? so I can't have a frat brother take my black job away. You know, I only got one job. You know, as my kids would say, Dad, don't mess this up. So
it's all good. I figure I had to put it out there. I figure I'm trying to get you in trouble. Thanks, Bull. We have here we are in the mid. Let's go to the RV life and the RV group that rolls. You get to every game. You are there. Talk a little bit about that experience and maybe one of the trips that kind of, I'm sure there's lots of memorable games and trips that you have been to, but share a little bit of that with us.
Well, you know, it's a beautiful thing, right? And I'm so sorry that this storm happened, but then again, I'm not, because right now the RV is down, as they say, for parts. So you know, I can't travel right now. So, but I tell you, I think when we played Alabama A&M, okay, and I think Kelvin, you can remember that.
Yes.
And we had people that flew in from across the United States, right? And one of the difficulties we have is when we go early. We're typically, when we're traveling like that, and in this particular case, for instance, for Alabama State, I would have left Sunday, went into Montgomery on Sunday, stayed over at the military installation, then drove into ASU on Thursday. But we have to get there that early because we literally have to go and, as they say, recon the area and figure out where can we park these things, right? Because a lot of times people don't understand how big they are.
Yeah.
And so when we went to Alabama A&M, it was a perfect example. And they gave us this little old spot, and it's like, this not going to work, you know. And so, but they worked it out with us. And I would tell you, it wasn't just Alabama A&M. Believe it or not, the best treatment we received was from Southern.
Mm-hmm.
Southern brought us in, man, welcomed us with open arms.
Yep.
Gave us a specific spot. We was hidden and tucked in very nicely. Brought pavement, brought rocks in and everything to accommodate us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's the love that is being shown when we travel like that. You know, it's unbelievable. So I like to call it the headquarters forward. You can't miss us because, as you all know, we had a flag flying. Rod is the RV Nuke, and I'm the RVQ. And so you get the love, and then as you're traveling down the road, people blowing their horn at you, you know, because they know who we are. They say, I guarantee they're going to a football game. And once you get there and get set up, you can't miss them, you know. And as you all know, everybody has been a host to the RV StrikeZone. From you guys, when you guys came to set up your headquarters and had to use the power from there. We had Tiffany and Jay, and I told Jay, I don't like you, but because you know, we with Tiffany, you know, you gonna sit over here in the hot part of the RV while Tiffany sit up front, And if we don't have to have the camera on you, and please don't tell nobody you was in the RV, by the way. And so, you know, you man, look, it draws attention from everybody. I mean, even right there in Tallahassee, the local news, right? So I would tell you that, yeah, Alabama A&M, when Kelvin was there, Kelvin, you see how the people come around us to show us love. And we set it out. But that experience at Southern University, man, was the best. Because and again, you know, Bryan, they don't understand this. Like we have to be smart on how we want to travel. Because as you get gas, and I like to tell everybody, when you see $500 going in the gas tank, you're like, I think this is my last time, and I'm selling this vehicle, and I haven't had fun yet, right? So you know, when friends come to the RV, they don't understand that generator is using the same gas.
Yeah.
You know, and so and then too, we have to conserve water, as you all know. Every flush is water. So when people are saying, "Hey, can you use the bathroom?" Like, no, you can't. You don't understand. You know, you know, man. My wife got to use the bathroom. They go to porta potty. Here goes some wipes. So I tell you, man. But look, it's beautiful, man. It's as my sister says, she doesn't feel sorry for me when I have maintenance problems. Because and just prior to the season start, I had to put 6 tires on. It takes 8, I had to put 6.
Right.
And you know, that's a painful experience.
That's an investment.
Oh, yes, it is. And then now, you know, it's been down now for 2 weeks. So when the storm came in, man, it kind of helped me a little bit because it's like, okay, I can't bring it to the game this weekend. And so, but look, man, it's a beautiful thing, right? When you travel, and more importantly, when we go to these other universities, to see just blacks with RVs, man, it's really a beautiful thing, man. And so, you know, as you all know, the RV Rattler right now, we got the strike zone. Y'all the O&G StrikeZone. I'm sorry, we didn't steal the strike zone. Somebody at the university created that for us.
It's all good.
And,
it's all love.
And so I like to say, you know, I'm part of the O&G StrikeZone.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's right.
Headquarters, you know, I just don't get a chance to go live. But I tell you, man, it's a beautiful thing, and it is. And so, you know, the love of FAMU is why we do it. And I would, you know, I guess if we got any questions about what was leading up to this weekend, there are a lot of things that goes on behind the scenes. If you don't mind, I would like to talk about some of those things.
Go ahead.
And Kelvin, I know I kind of let you know certain things in advance. And as I believe in, you know, being a quiet professional, I think it's so very important that we allow FAMU to speak on its own, right? And too often we want to get ahead of FAMU.
Right.
What most people don't know, that this was going to be a star-studded weekend, starting on Thursday, actually. They were going to give the rings to the golf team. And they had to cancel that, of course. And then Friday morning, we were meeting with Dr. Beard, the Coast Guard. As you all know, that back in November, I brought the Coast Guard to FAMU with that partnership. I have been working on that for 2 years. And why that is so important is because if a kid enrolls in the Coast Guard, it's not an ROTC program, that's a $200,000 scholarship. It pays for their junior and senior year, and they get $3,500 a month. Now imagine that, $3,500 a month.
Wow.
Okay. Wow. And so that relationship is very, very important.
Yeah.
What just happened probably in July, you know, I'm always pushing the envelope. This is what you don't know. And how I think this is why all of us as Rattlers, we can all play our part, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I talked to the Coast Guard about, you know, is there something else that they could do? Okay. Because I was in the federal government. I know how we are in the fourth quarter and how they operate in the fiscal year.
Right.
They'd probably be mad, but there was a substantial amount of money that they gave to athletics that y'all are not aware of.
Right.
Okay. And this game was going to be sponsored by the Coast Guard. So you was going to see all the signage around the stadium. Admiral was going to flip the coin. And I go ahead and let the cat out the bag. There was going to be a Coast Guard flower with one of their aircraft. It was going to be a star-studded event. And we still working some things that we think we got a game down the road here that we can pull that off. But
Okay.
there was some funds that was given of a substantial amount. And I'm working that now because this would have been a what they get for that. You'll see advertisement at the stadium. You'll see advertisement at the basketball games because we're trying to educate, and expose. And that's, as you all know, we need sponsorships, right?
Yes.
It helps us tremendously. But these are the kinds of things that are quietly going on that you don't hear. But I think, Kevin, I told you what that dollar amount was.
Right.
I believe I did. And then in the next fiscal year, you know, I'm working on something else that you gave us this, but can we get this? Right. And so often I'm being told, they ask me, do I work for the university? I say, no, I don't. It's just a quiet relationship and partnership that we have. And that's that part where I say we as FAMU Rattlers can do our part quietly, right? That you don't know about what's going on behind the scenes. So when all this is going on, I do understand the run of the show. I do understand about, hey, can we orchestrate this and that? And so that way it looks good. Because as you all know, when folks are paying for things, I don't want to say paying for things, when folks are supporting us, you got to show them the love because we want to bring them back again.
Yes.
Okay. So when I'm selling that we're the #1 public HBCU now for the 6th time, when we're now the number 81, we stepped up number 81. When we just won the national championship in football and in golf.
Yeah.
Okay. So when folks ask me, hey, Rick, how can we support athletics? I say the baseline is this. Steph Curry does a golf tournament for Howard University where he raises anywhere from $2 to $6 million.
Yep. Wow.
And we at least do that.
Hey.
Now imagine that, right?
There you go.
So as I go around and I try to talk to various people, that's my baseline. So how can I help? Steph Curry does this.
Yeah.
Every year for Howard University's maybe 10 golfers at best. Okay. And he does that at Pebble Creek. Now, so that's how you can help us, right? And that's an Olympic sport. So Kevin, you understand this, right? So some of the suggestions that I make in recommendations everywhere I go, if we support, if a National Alumni Chapter took an Olympic sport and they made that's just what I'm gonna focus on, right? And we got plenty in the National Alumni Association, got affinity groups and all of that, right? Do you know how much $10,000 would make to the bowling team?
Absolutely.
To the tennis team?
Volleyball.
Baseball, volleyball. So as we name the Olympic sports, these are not the ones that get all the love now. But if you gave them, and I'm just saying the minimum number is 10,000, right? It makes a difference.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? So find a way that my little small amount can make a difference in those Olympic sports. Man, that's a home run.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So now, you know, we don't have to come on here, as I like to call it, 1887 Day is coming up. You know, I think it already started today. And we got so many days of giving, right? So as we run different things to support athletics, because again, look, I'm so glad that Angela Suggs is there.
Amen.
But as you all know, we got a history of every 2 years, there's a new AD.
Transition, right.
The budget doesn't change.
No, it doesn't, sadly.
It still work for what they have, right? And as you all know, when Jamise was on here and she left, I already knew because we had this conversation while she was here in Tampa. I felt bad because what we couldn't do. And she was deserving.
Absolutely.
Okay? And so when you say we want to hire more coaches and assistant coaches and grad assistants, folks, that takes money.
Absolutely.
Kevin, you already know.
Yeah.
The budget doesn't change. Okay. And you got to pay these folks. So I'm saying, folks, you know, when they let go Tiger for $18 million, that didn't come out of Florida State's pocket. The booster stood up and say, here you go. Right?
That's right.
And so,
right.
And so now that's just one small event. So I think that everywhere we go, you all know this. We are the sales reps for Florida A&M University. And that is my 2-minute elevator speech when I say, here's how you can help us. It's about our students. And then I get into the student athletes because, you know, I'm hitting different pots but I brag on the fact that the record speaks for itself.
Yes, it does.
Absolutely.
And so if we got these accolades, my conversation is, why is the Bezos ex-wife talking about giving FAMU money?
Right.
Why isn't, Bloomberg just gave $600 million to HBCUs? Why we in that conversation?
Hey.
Okay.
Hey.
So if I'm the number one public HBCU for 6 years, okay, come on,
Supposed
guys.
to know me. You're supposed to know me.
81.
That's right.
Where's the funding, man? Where's the money coming? The money ain't coming. So, Bryan, we doing something wrong.
Amen.
Right.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
Just on that alone, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Money should be pouring into it. What do we have to do? We don't want a championship in football. We don't want golf. Tell me what more we need to do to sell the brand.
Yeah.
LeBron hasn't been to FAMU yet, folks.
No.
Why is
Oh,
that?
Lord. Don't remember. Yeah.
Why is that?
Why?
It ain't basketball season right now, right? Guess who we got playing on the basketball team?
Yes,
O'Neal.
indeed. Shaq, baby.
Now, guess where his daughter's at? Florida.
Yeah, oh, that's
Guess
right.
where
Yeah.
grandmama is at?
Right. That's right. That's right.
Now,
Yeah.
folks, when you go and talk to Shaquille O'Neal, it ain't just about basketball, good brothers.
No.
Nope.
You got to look at his total enterprise.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
It's a
Okay.
portfolio, big portfolio.
Now, when you look at his total portfolio, 5 guys. What's the pizza spot?
Papa John's,
Papa John's. Well, guess what you just saw?
the General Auto.
Eating prop, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everywhere our teams go, we're gonna be some Papa John and 5 guys eating individually, bro. Okay, I'm just telling you right now. When
Yeah.
you get on the plane, Papa John, 5 guys. Okay, and so
Eat 'em
and
up.
if you're a Rattler, you'll get a discount, and it's bigger than that because now a concession stand look a little different. 5 guys.
What?
That's right.
Papa John. So when I look at what he does, when you talk to somebody like that, I just don't know if we have the right folks to have and engage in those type of conversations.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, because there's no reason we got a Shaquille O'Neal son here and we ain't taking advantage of that. Shaquille would be a guest speaker. Okay, LeBron will get an honorary degree.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We
Hey,
got a basketball facility, bro. That's state of the art.
yes,
Yeah,
indeed.
it's nice.
It does more than just graduation. Now, graduation can't be the only time we sell it out.
right.
Amen.
Okay, and that's free, Bryan. That's free.
Yep.
So,
Hey.
Yeah. Guys, y'all do a very good job of putting this out here, and I think that if we all, as Rattlers, just do our small part, I think that there's enough of us out here who has the intellectual properties to engage in conversations, okay,
Yep.
with people that they know that has monies, angel donors, okay, that will be willing to support, because it's an easy 2-minute elevator speech.
Yep.
Number one public HBCU, 6 years, okay, broke in the top 100 of universities. Come on, man. What else we need to do?
I think we're gonna have a guest a little later on the show that might be recruiting you to that might be recruiting you to do some more of what you already do.
But yeah, man, yeah. So look, I know y'all said it was 11. It's actually 12, and that is Dr. Robinson, and I like to give homage to him because this breaking into the top 100 again, moving up 10 spots to 81, being the number one public HBCU for the 6th year in a row. Dr. Robinson, he did a lot, and I thank that man because of where he has brought us. Okay, and I'm looking forward to where we're going. And again, great news this week when as they say, Angela Suggs is back home. And so, hey, Kevin, you got to let her know now. She don't get no honeymoon period, man. She's been there before now.
I think she understands.
So we
I think she understands that.
Immediately. Okay, fix those raggedy bathrooms over there at the state. I'm tired of doing that over there.
I think
Come on, Bryan. Come on, Bryan.
Hey, if there's one request, if there's one request, I am sure she has heard it is about the bathroom. So I know she's heard it. I want to give you the last word, Mr. Kinsey, to kind of, just again, thank, whoever you want to give a shout out to or thank, and give you the last word. We always appreciate. We just appreciate you and appreciate you being a friend of the program. Definitely.
Well, let me just say this, man. I want to thank everybody that supports what we do day in and day out, because this is not a one-man show. I like to say my Rattlers and arm brother Keith Stubbs and Maurice Pickett. Those two guys, I wish they were going in the Hall of Fame, because with me, there is no me without them. And more importantly, there is no me without everybody that supports the initiatives that we do. And I thank them. So when we go out and I ask Kelvin for $1,000, and y'all don't know how I go about doing that, but they do it very easily. So I'm so glad that they buy into what we're doing. They understand the mission. So I just want to say thank you so very much. And I want to thank the Hall of Fame committee, because this wasn't what I do is not for the accolades. Okay. And I'm so very happy and I'm honored to go into the Hall of Fame. And again, guys, thank you. And I appreciate each and everything that you're doing, and to get the word out, to keep us engaged. So it's because of them. And I want to thank everybody that supports the efforts that we do. And so thank you guys very much for having me on the show.
Definitely. And hopefully whenever we do find that date, we'll actually be there to celebrate the induction, in style, in person, because I know we talked to Marvin about a month or two ago, and not knowing the other stuff that was going on, it was already going to be a big weekend.
Right, exactly.
So I know a lot of planning went into it, and so I know the rescheduling will be just as big, might even be bigger. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
We plan on being there for it, and so
good.
Congratulations to you. Congratulations to the other members, the other 11 members of the 2024 Hall of Fame, and we will be there whenever it is announced with the rescheduling. I know Marvin Green watches the show, friend of the program. He'll let us know, or we'll find out through the appropriate channels, and we'll share that with you guys, Rattler Nation, and then we'll all rejoice and celebrate our history. That's the one. We got a beautiful Hall of Fame. And so a lot of legends, a lot of great Rattlers and people. Yeah. And we just got to continue to share the history, because it is a beautiful history in our sports Hall of Fame. So
hey, and if I may, lastly, guys, just be safe, okay? Because this storm is coming. I hope that all Rattlers everywhere are safe. Okay. Yeah. So thank you again, guys.
All right, thanks, Rick.
All right, thank you, Rick. Be well.
All right.
Great conversation with the Hall of Famer himself, Mr. Rick Kinsey. Good stuff. Let's catch up on a break, kind of get into a few more news and notes. Special guest coming in at the bottom of the hour. Not gonna say who. Maybe you guess, maybe you won't, but we'll save it, because I almost said too much already. So I'm gonna just stop there. And we'll get into some more news and notes from our athletic teams, and then some of the big. We haven't even gotten to the other big stories. I mean, there was like a story 1A, story 1B, and then the hurricane happened. So notice I said there were two big stories not included, named Helene. All right, so we'll talk about that coming up here on the other side. You're watching the O&G Strike Zone right here on the Black College Sports Network. We'll be back in just a moment.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Supermarket sushi, really?
No. Wait, Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working, huh?
Oh, Troy, you're such a good teacher.
Yeah, I know. Never not working. Never not working. Never ever not working.
Are you serious?
Never not working. Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head and Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
Hey, grab me one too.
Charmin Ultra Soft has so much cushiony softness, it's hard for your family to remember. They can use less.
Sweet pillows of softness.
This is soft. Holy Charmin. Oh, excuse me. Roll it back, everybody. Sorry.
Charmin Ultra Soft is so cushiony soft, you'll want more, but it's so absorbent, you can use less, so it's always worth it.
Now, what did we learn about using less?
You gotta roll it back, everybody.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
Greetings, I'm Kiana Watson.
Hi, I'm Zoyani Hughes.
Greetings, I'm Nia Morgan, and for all things FAMU Athletics, check out the O&G StrikeZone
on Wednesdays at the Black College Sports Network.
Go Rattlers!
All right, shout out to the FAMU softball ladies. Always appreciate the love. And again, thanks to Rick Kinsey, 2024 FAMU Sports Hall of Famer, for joining us in the last segment. Yeah, he's crazy. Yeah, I can't put him on timeout.
Hey, I don't know who's worse, EA or Edwin Moore. Both of them antagonistic.
Well, yeah, exactly. All right, let's kind of move into some of the FAMU related things. Oh boy. Oh, this is great timing. Okay. Great timing. Okay, let me start with, I don't know, I think this was story 1B in my opinion, but it came out second, right? It came out second. That news, it's crazy, Kelvin. I'm sitting there, I don't even think I was half awake when you sent that to me, and I looked up and said, "What? We're what?" So yes, the story came out Tuesday. Was it Tuesday? Late Monday? Yeah, Tuesday morning. That Florida A&M University was, for the 6th consecutive year, not 1, not 2, not 3. Not 4, not 5. Y'all don't even remember when that was originally coined, right? That was, I still say, one of the greatest pre-hype pep rallies that people hated on. But anyway, the 6th year consecutive, the #1 public HBCU. Sorry, Aggies. I know there was a lot of Aggie talk. I don't know what report they were looking at, but anyway, Florida A&M also. We were last year in the 90s among the top 100, correct?
Yeah.
90 something, moved up to number 81. So despite all the noise, Kelvin, all the noise.
Think about it.
FAMU still rising, still sitting at the top. pretty
God,
awesome stuff.
God's university, man. And again, you have to get a lot of the credit to the previous administration. This was one of the focal point. The type of students we're admitting, the programs, there's still things we can even go to that next level, like with research dollars and grants. But man, this is significant. It's big to have a HBCU with resources. If you look at the schools that we're ranked ahead or just in our immediate area that are non-HBCUs, you look at their operating budgets and their research dollars and their foundations. For us to be there and still not fully not made whole, I mean, it's big, it's significant, man. And I really think that when we get to story 1A, as well as our new administration and some of the things that are happening with some of those appointments, I think we're on the road to go even higher.
Just reading a couple of comments here. I'm just kind of reading the article. So with Florida A&M being ranked number 81, that's a 20 spot rank over the past 2 years, following a ranking of 91 last year and 103 in 2022. Just quoting here from FAMU Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer Donald Palm, quote, "When we work together, hard work pays off. We have to show up every day and give our best." President Beard also quoted as saying, as the university continues its upward trajectory in the national rankings, Beard believes FAMU will make bigger jumps in the years to come, saying, quote, "Within 5 years, I believe we can crack the top 50. Woo.
Ambitious, but possible.
Yeah. I mean, let's see. Among the university's mainly noted achievements in the rankings, other highlights that were shared at the Tuesday event include being ranked number 152 among all national universities, number 87 in the best value schools category, which measures an institution's academic quality at an affordable cost, and number 20 on the social mobility index. Good stuff. Scanning here, during the 23-24 fiscal year, FAMU received a record $112.4 million in research awards compared to $96.4 million in 22-23. Awesome, man. We continue to make strides. Let me see. One last note here. As FAMU has set a goal of reaching a Carnegie R1 classification, i.e. very high research activity, by 2030, it is currently ranked Carnegie R2, high research activity. So I know that is a goal, and that's something here good friend Dr. Cavill talk about often for our university.
Let me just add.
Yeah.
Let me just add, if we can add a couple of professional programs, maybe a school of veterinarian school, that was talked about before too, and we have the means to do that. Maybe some other STEM grad degrees. Those are kind of things, along with the research money that you're bringing in and your budget stuff, that would kind of help you get to that top 50. It takes resources. It's expensive. So hopefully that's what we work at dental school. That's right, Dr. Lori. Absolutely. Those are two schools.
Yeah, Doc. Yeah, definitely. She would love that, for real.
Yeah, those are two schools that we could bring on that would help get us there.
Yeah. All right. So a lot of good stuff happening. Doctoral programs. All right. So yeah, I mean, talk about an exciting start of the week. You know,
Yes.
a lot of positive things,
Yes.
and I mean, so yeah, just and we notably said it was story 1B because I can't tell you story 1A is just like exciting news. We told you last week it was coming. We told you last week she was coming. And nobody fumbled the bag, and it's a done deal. As our AD, Vice President of Intercollegiate Athletics, this is Angela Suggs, came home, is home, back to the highest of 7 hills. Where there it is, the high. With an outstanding. I watched it again this morning. Actually this afternoon. The introductory press conference. I learned things about numbers that I didn't know. And I genuinely had a big smile on my face as I'm hearing it, and I'm just, I mean, man, it's exciting. It's exciting, and I think a point of personal reflection is it feels good seeing somebody who understands our university and all of its beautiful, sometimes messy, sometimes complicated, sometimes fabulous and outstanding, who understands it all.
Right.
And when you have that working for you, any and all great things are possible.
That's right. Anything's possible.
Anything is possible.
And let me add, Brian, before the next guest comes on, there was a lot of guys who was walking in the rain or chopping onions that watched that because of the genuineness, the sincerity, the emotion of the moment, how much it meant. You understood. And I'm sure there's a journey there, right? And I've got a question teed up about that journey. So I'm gonna let you do the honors.
It's an honor to bring on to the show. I consider family none other than our new athletic director, vice president of Intercollegiate Athletics. This is Angela Suggs. Welcome back to the O&G family. Good to have you back. Congratulations and welcome. How are you this evening?
Thank you so much. Can you all hear me? Okay.
We hear you
yes,
loud and clear.
I am well. Just rolled back into Tallahassee maybe about 20 minutes ago from Orlando, and the traffic is out there. The rain is out there, but needed to get back, make sure that home is squared away so that we can hunker down here. My mother-in-law is here. And in terms of Davin and I coming back, but was honored to be in Orlando earlier today for the Greater Orlando Sports Women in Sport Leadership event, where I was presented with that leadership award. And it was truly an honor to be in a sold out arena there on UCF's campus. It was really just incredible. And they did speak about my next chapter, and the reception was really well. UCF's AD, Terry Mahajer, definitely extended his greetings and support of who we are and what we do, as well as the AD from Rollins College, Penny, being there. And so it was great. It was great to be in the space for sure.
Well, congratulations on that award. As I was getting a chance to kind of just flip back through that. And I want to also, before just talking about the introductory press conference, I got to give a shout out to Mr. Campbell and the guys from the Coach's Corner, the show you did last night. You know, I ain't even mad about being scooped. You know, I got some texts. They're like, B, they scooped us. I said, oh, you know, that's Mr. Campbell, man. That, you know, it's all love. That's old school FAMU right there. That's you know,
Campbell and Coach Cole. You know, if you've been in HBCU football for a minute, the Cole brothers, you know, God rest the soul of his brother, but the Cole brothers, you can't really be an HBCU football fan and not, you know, at least give the respect. And Coach Hayes had been on there as well.
Yeah.
And so definitely.
Yeah, no, but it was a great job by the guys. Glad they got a chance to bring you on and so I struggle because I don't really know. I'll be honest. I don't even know where to go with questions because I have the fortune of talking and just having a chance to talk to you, but I did not know the significance of numbers, and that blew my mind. And I mean, it felt so. I mean, it was prophetic. It really was. I heard you say it in the press conference, and then I'm hearing you say it in the two other interviews I watched, and I'm like, man, that truly is on that's power. That's on God's timing. And I mean, I don't even know what to ask about that, but just the importance of finding your moment and really recognizing that moment. What does that feel like?
Certainly. Timing is everything. And as I shared last night, and as I added rather, Coach Cozy is the 19th head football coach.
Yes, I heard that. Yep.
And Curtis Johnson is the 19th NAA National Alumni Association president. And so for it all to come together, and again, as we look at it really in timing, however you want to put that forth or whatever meaning you want to put associated with it. 2 years ago, when we had the conversation and went through the process, I just believe that we had 2 more years of things that we needed to bring into the fold, learn in our experiences with the Florida Sports Foundation, a few more trips to take, a few more events to experience, a few more people to meet, knowing that this journey would take us to where we are now, where we're going on October 7th, and what we introed just a couple of days ago. And again, as we move forward, I needed the last 2 years in order to be able to come lock arms with the team, lock arms with President Beard, and be able through the new leadership team. I'm super excited to have the opportunity to work with Alonda Thomas again, and the experiences that she has had at Howard and at Jackson State, and now for her to come back home as well. Sarah, I see you in the comment there. But with that, again, these experiences to take us on this path needed to meet, like I said, a few more people, because I met the UCF AD within the last 2 years. So to see him then again today, where there was a little more familiarity, right? That we can go into those conversations from a warm perspective instead of, having it to possibly be a cold call, if you will. I am truly appreciative. I'm blessed to be able to be your athletics director for our alma mater and our Rattlers.
I love that, by the way. I love how you did that. I love how you brought that home and reminding us about our and yours. And kind of almost in sync to kind of what Mr. Kinsey was talking about earlier about when we have an ownership in something and we really give, we kind of treat it differently. I mean, and when we really take note of that and make it ours, and understand that it takes all of us moving in the same direction, we can do some great things, as we've noticed. Before I throw it over to you, Kelvin, I want to ask, from sitting on the outside and seeing FAMU move. As I said, you know FAMU well. You worked in athletics. You know the university well. And watching FAMU from the outside, and I love the fact that you said that you're going to make a concerted effort of talking with everybody and listening. But as you watch from the outside, and obviously you hear people's concerns and things, what was maybe this, or something that you think that people missed, or maybe didn't quite understand, as we've kind of watched events over, I'm gonna go as far and say maybe the last 2 years, just from your perspective, what's something that we have missed, or maybe didn't quite understand, or maybe misinterpreted, or maybe misrepresented?
Sure. And so the inner workings of the enterprise, if you will, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. There's a lot that goes to really being able to have a successful Division I FCS program at a low resource institution, especially one that has the legacy and the history of Florida A&M University. I mean, we've been doing this thing for well over 100 years as it relates to varsity sports. And when it comes to the big names, and when you dig down into the legacy of FAMU athletics, when you go back all the way to Juby Bragg, or you go all the way back to when we had our first game and we played Tuskegee and Alabama State in the same week, 2 to 3 days within each other. And then you pull that forward into our modern day. But before getting here, and you're talking about, when you think HBCU football, you think two greats, and maybe that's coming from a biased perspective, but you're thinking Jay Gaither and you're thinking Eddie Robinson, right? You know, I know that we have others that have come from other great institutions, and we have classics named after them and everything. But when ESPN rolls a story, they're not going to roll that story without talking about one of the two of them, and we have one of them. When we talk about the Division I AA National Championship that just celebrated last year, 45 years, and that team that, you know, of course, we've been speaking about, that beat the University of Miami, and all of the trailblazing successes that you have. When you come in and bring that into the 21st century, when you bring that beyond 2020, when you then invite in not just where we are now with NIL, with cost of attendance, and everyone talking about training tables and all of the things that come into the business of athletics, you put that with, you know, being able to sustain it while also raising the funds that are necessary. If we're talking about how much gas costs and eggs costs, imagine jet fuel. So if we're talking about how much, so what it costs to put the team on the plane and take them to Detroit along with the band in the early 2000s and sell out Ford Field with Alabama State, who's our next opponent, to be able to maintain that. I think, there's opportunity for us to take a look at our do some peer comparisons in terms of being able to know that people are catching up to us. Some of them are, trying to pass us. I don't think we're too far behind, but we can definitely get there. And just look at the industry standard, right? The best practice. Intercollegiate athletics is an industry. It's not just something that happens at 1835 out there at Gibson Way, right? There are institutions that are similar to ours. There are institutions that have the same pain points as us, but they are the institutions that also are achieving some of the successes that we can also achieve. So I think that as we've gone through as much transition as we have, the inner workings of it and the business of the enterprise. When we look at revenues, it's not as simple as just we got to raise more money. No, we've got to have a revenue strategy. And what are those revenue strategies going to be? But what's our capacity, though? Because I can say all day that we're going to bring in all of these points of sale units into concessions and into the stadium. But if I don't have enough, if I don't have enough capacity from a broadband perspective or a technology perspective, then the experience is messed up. So when we talk about listening internally as well as externally, we've got to find out from across the campus, across the divisions, what assets we have on campus, how we best utilize those assets in collaboration so that we can then look at revenue opportunities in addition to raising funds philanthropically from private donors and all of the successes all of the affinity groups. I heard you speaking of Mr. Kinsey and others that have come through, Rattlers in Arms and Eddie Jackson 220 Quarterback Club, our Rattler F Club, of course, our Rattler Boosters, the heart of it all, and our National Alumni Association and what they have given to athletics. But how then do we bring all of that together, establish a plan, establish some goals, looking at the next year, the next 3 years, the next 5 years, that where is it that we're trying to go and how is it that we do a little bit more year by year?
Go ahead, Kelvin.
Without going in too much to any previous conversations, Angelo, you've been at the university. You understand in athletics the history there. How are you different now coming into this position as the vice president versus when you were here previously?
I'm a little more calm with it as we look, because again, I'm a fan as well. But sitting in the seat that I've sat in, I've had to definitely prioritize being a sports professional over the emotion that comes through sport. And serving in the seat with the Florida Sports Foundation, we are definitely solution focused, results oriented. We are definitely data driven. We carry the numbers, $70+ billion in economic impact. We look at the number, the hundreds of thousands of jobs that are created through sport, amateur, professional, recreational, leisure, sticking to the plan and looking at what our goals are, looking at benchmarks, establishing and being intentional about producing, if you will. The majority of our budget with the Sports Foundation comes from the professional sports plates that you see on the roads. Well, when we came in 2017, I think we were right at about $2.6 million or somewhere around there. Well, if that's the majority, or if that's a good bit of our operating budget for sport development, because we have some other pockets that we are responsible for as well. But for bringing, recruiting and retaining events to our state, and to be able now 7 years later to have closed last year out at $6.4 million, where we then were able to almost triple the revenues from that, $25 at a time. Now winning helps. So, the Bucks pulling out Super Bowl 55, Stanley Cup championship in the state of Florida, where we are kings of the ice as well here in the great state, between the Tampa Bay Lightning and our recently crowned Stanley Cup champions, the Florida Panthers. We're able to push that, but we had to be intentional about it. We could not, be passive, right, in the approach. We had to go out and ask people, make people aware that by purchasing these plates, that they're also supporting youth and amateur sports. Because and if it goes with your car and that's why you're getting it, that's fine too. But for us to again go from 2.7 to $6.4 million, we're just truly excited about that. But again, the team, our sports commissions hosting back-to-back Super Bowls, while the local sports commissions, they are the boots on the ground that do the bid. But for us to then come in and provide support from the state, looking at for Super Bowl 55 in Tampa, we also hosted the CFP National Championship the same year in Miami. That year, of course, was 2021, the spring of 2021. CFP National Championship, we didn't even know which conferences were going to compete, let alone being able to then go in and see who would participate. So we had that where we had to create solutions. Not playing the game was not an option, right? It was just how we were going to play the game. Same thing with Super Bowl. But what we were able to establish with the chairs of the Tampa Super Bowl host committee, Derek Brooks and Weatherford, in terms of being able to then pull the entire community together. When we said it was one Tampa, it was one Tampa. It was the city of Tampa. It was Hillsborough County. It was the NFL. It was Pinellas County. It was Pasco. Everyone came together to make sure that Super Bowl 55 was safe and that it was an experience, the best that we could possibly have in the time that we were in, that we hope is a generational experience, right? But those are the things. And coming back now, I've got to find a way to yes. And those relationships across campus and being able, I'm not going to just be able to run up in there without the selling presentation because I got to sell internally as well as externally. It's our job to educate our colleagues on campus. It's our job to, bring about what the NCAA is saying, what the Southwestern Athletic Conference is saying, what are best practices as it relates to institutions that are making 950s and above as a full program in APR, those institutions that are coming forth and succeeding in this new landscape. And so the difference is I've got a whole lot more patience to be able to see it through. And if we don't get it across the line today, we just got to come back to the table again and bring it across the table maybe in 2 weeks or 2 months.
All right. And my follow-up to that is, so you're coming in where the budget is already the budget for this year. You've got some vacancies in the department. What is your priorities? How do you prioritize? What's your plan with short term for this physical year? And then I'm sure you have some things in your mind that you would like to do, whether it be short term or long term. So just kind of talk about that.
Sure. And when we look at revenues, we've got to look at exhausting what opportunities we can look at in the short term. And that's where speaking with the division of, the CFO's office, right? And taking a look at where the opportunities are, understanding the contracts that are already in place. What part do we play, or what role do we play in the Pepsi agreement? What role do we play in the Barnes and Noble agreement? What's in place already? And then, what are some things maybe even that we used to do that we don't do anymore, but then also looking at additional opportunities that we may have there. Getting with VP Brown and her team to take a look at the budget. What was the plan, or what is the plan going into it? I did, of course, listen to our Board of Trustees meeting, but just sitting with the team to understand some of the strategies that they put in place before, share some things that could possibly help us this year. But I start October 7th. Around January, February, it's time to look at next fiscal year.
That's right.
So that's the biggest thing in terms of us being able to look at what we can do this year to set us up for next year and the year beyond that. We're going to have to build this plane and fly it at the same time. And in doing that, coming into a budget that's already built, while we need to be thinking about, because in a lot of spaces, we can secure partnerships and agreement, revenue opportunities, and that would take us into next year. As we look at even season tickets for next fiscal year, that activity will start this year, right? And so as we then look at some of those things, we've got to exhaust internally as well as externally whatever it is that we can do to achieve this desire and goal of a balanced budget, while also already thinking about FY26. Right now, last week before last, I'm already submitting my legislative budget request for the Florida Sports Foundation for fiscal year 26. And so I'm in fiscal year 25, but I've been working on fiscal year 26 since July. Since the first month of the first quarter of this year, I've already been looking at my request and what our budget is going to be for next year. So we'll bring some of those things in. But again, it's not just me. I don't do that alone at the Sports Foundation. We lock arms with Florida Commerce. We lock arms with our industry partners across the state to see what's realistic and what we can shoot for in terms of managing that budget.
Awesome.
You guys in the chat rooms, love you guys in the chat room. Lots of stuff. One of these days, Angela, when you're ready, we're just gonna have when you're ready to do an open town hall and just field questions, because folks just got questions and demands. You know, I'm surprised some of y'all in the chat haven't started dropping demands like, when can we get this back and when can we do this? So I'm just like skipping over half. I'm skipping over half of that stuff because I know it's out there. And I'm trying to think of questions and things that maybe Mr. Campbell and the guys didn't hit on with you. I'm curious about, from the role that you've had with the Florida Sports Foundation, which you interact with a lot of entities and a lot of sports entities within the state. And I know this I don't mean to say, hey, I don't want you to pick anybody out in particular, but I'm just curious, is there an organization or maybe a couple of organizations that you have seen do things that you say that can translate at our level? Kelvin and I often talk about things that we see and we say, you know, that can be done at our level, even if it's at a smaller scale.
Scalability.
Scalability. Yeah. So I'm just kind of curious, as you've seen within the state, what entities or what organizations maybe have you seen that bring something like that to mind? Sure.
And so I'll go with two. I'll go with the Vinnick Group, and because there are several in the state. I'll go with the Vinnick Group, which of course is the Tampa Bay Lightning, but there are other entrepreneurial efforts and businesses within the Vinnick Group on top of the Tampa Bay Lightning, right? And then, of course, what Mr. Ross is doing in Miami. And I'll with the Vinnick Group, there is a sports marketing entity that's a part of the Vinnick Group that goes out and works with institutions in terms of securing multimedia rights and other opportunities there. Of course, there are concerts there at Amalie Arena and many other things above and beyond what we know to be a championship NHL program, right? In addition to that, what happens in Miami, what happens in Miami Gardens, right there on the corner of Don Shula Drive, also known as 199th Street and 27th Avenue, is amazing, right? You have the Miami Dolphins. You also have Miami Open Tennis. You also have the Rolling Loud concert series. You also have Miami Grand Prix. You also have the training facility that has come to the grounds. You now have market rate apartments that are in the Miami Gardens area. You have a Starbucks. You have the first Topgolf that came to the Tri-County area, not just to Miami-Dade County, but it came to Miami Gardens, large in part to the investment and everything that was put there. I bring that up because while we may not, have Formula One and all of these things, from an experience standpoint, above and beyond just NFL events, right? And to be able to command that experience with the group there that Mr. Ross has in place, Miles Pistorius and others that are there at the stadium that negotiate all of these great experiences for Floridians and people that come from all over the world. Kelvin and I have been there at Miami Grand Prix to observe from different vantage points, but to really see how the experience and how we can then care that much and invest that much in our planning to be able to provide experience for our fans, our stakeholders, and people that come so that they will come back no matter what it is that we're having there. But it also tells you that we can do more than football at our venues as well, and see how we can add that to the enterprise and add that to our revenue strategies. And we're not going to do it all at once. All of these things that we're talking about, Jazz in the Gardens that comes there in partnership with the city of Miami Gardens, and how the diversity of events that are coming into that space as well as being involved in the community. And so not just those two entities, but when we talk about community impact, when we talk about social responsibility, when we talk about Florida A&M University, specifically as it relates to the front porch and what we are doing as it relates to the 850, the Big Bend area, and who we are and our presence in the space, that means that trunk or treat or summer camps or whatever it is, when you think, what can I do? We want you to think FAMU. We want you to think that there is something at FAMU that is a part of this community. And even if it's in partnership with Campus Rec or in partnership with SGA, in partnership with student affairs or anyone that is bringing people to campus, that is the experience that then is the future student that comes to campus, the future professor that comes to campus, the future whoever resident of Tallahassee and Leon County, that they came to a FAMU event and they had such a great experience, because that's what we do with the Sports Foundation. You came to Super Bowl, my intent is that you move here. We gave you such a great experience that you're going to leave your state where you pay state taxes and you are moving to Florida because you came to a sporting event in Florida. So why can't we do that at FAMU? You came to the person that started all of the great build out that's happening at the University of Florida. He didn't go to the University of Florida. The business school investment came from a guy that went to a football game in Gainesville.
It is.
I saw who was it? Who No Saint had put in there. I noticed that in your comments over the last couple of days, the emphasis of reaching out to the community, and not just Tallahassee, but you noted that the 850, the area, which, and I love the fact I think it's some of the numbers that I've heard, but 200,000 people that, are all within the reach of FAMU. And us being that entity that we are, and that entity that we brag about, there's so many people within the community that maybe don't come to FAMU. And then we talk about why not FAMU. It's almost one of those slogans for the city and the area. Why not FAMU? Why aren't you coming to FAMU for games? I mean, that's very intentional. I like that. Chef's kiss on that one, AD.
Hey, another one. Are you in?
We just tossed it.
I'm in.
There we are. What else you got? I did highlight a couple of good ones here from the chat. But what else you got, Kelvin? And then I'll ask answer
No,
a couple of these.
I was going to go with some of the ones that I think Kenya has a nice one. She asked about what you learned working on the prior ADs.
That's the one I highlighted.
That you would like to implement. I think that's a good one.
Yeah. So can you ask about maybe what you learned working under prior ADs that you'd like to implement?
So I will share a lesson learned that we can't do it alone. We cannot silo ourselves. We've got to really invest in relationships. Communication is key. Being able to do now. So each of the ADs, we were able, because I was on the external side of the house. And so while I was, eventually became senior woman administrator, I maintained my external responsibility, which is unique for senior woman administrators. Many of them are coming from academics and compliance. And for me, it was the reverse. So once I became senior woman administrator, I had to be all in on APR for my teams that I was sport administrator for, all in on graduation success rates and all of that. So much so to the point when we were in the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, or the MEAC, I am proud and honored to say that we won back-to-back Mary McLeod Bethune Women's Sport Program of the Year back-to-back on the way out. And so we were able, and that comes from our APR rates, our championships, our graduation rates, all of that pooled into one to then award a women's program of the year. And so to be able to do that was good. And we did a lot of good things. North End Zone Club, we were able to bring in, with probably one of the shortest termed ADs that I experienced, but we were able to grow the President's Club into that. And we didn't make that up. We brought that from Florida Citrus Sports. Before they did the build out that they're doing now, they had something called the Uprights Club. So similar to what we were talking about from what we saw or what we see in Miami, what we see in Tampa and other places, we looked at that Uprights Club and said, hey, we can do that in the North End Zone. And Kelvin was working down in POM at the time, and he and Craig Towson and Kendall Jones and all of us, we stood on that piece of grass. They looked at me like I was crazy. They're like, But then when we pulled it up and got it down there, it definitely is something that, started out great. It has grown tremendously. We got to take a look at the experience there, and we applaud the support. And that's a partnership. We applaud the support of University Advancement and what that team has done to keep that going, right, in support of the game day experience. So continuing to talk across campus and taking a look at that. Of course, each AD that I had, and I had 5, and then I had the interim 3 times, but all of them were different. All of them brought different experiences. I am friends with each and every one of them right now, and all of the interims as well, both interims, because we had Dwayne Robinson, who of course was just named the Vice President and Director of Athletics at Alcorn. So I look forward to serving with him in the SWAC around the table, but definitely the importance of relationships is something that is pivotal, because I've seen it work several different ways. Relationships with our external stakeholders, listening to our external stakeholders, being patient, understanding that, in terms of the opportunity for them to share, particularly with our seasoned Rattlers, those that have been around and know that they have just as much pride and they want to see the success, and to just sit and speak with them. And I can't text them to find out the information from them. So knowing and understanding and seeing it work at different levels with the ADs, those are some of the things that I learned, going in and really being with the audience that I'm with at the time and being able to share and receive. And fortunately, so I'm in a class span where I was here because my husband and I did marry a Rattler and we are building a dynasty, as they say. But I came in first, and it was kind of like we passed the baton. And what's so funny is in the yearbook where I'm a senior, Davin is on the next page, right? And so I'm on one page as a senior. He's on the next page, Rattler Nation, as a freshman. And so
shout out to the class of 92.
Because I did an extra year. He did an extra year as well. He has his 5 years. So we got 10 years of people. Throw in my parents when they were working here, throw in their people. I think that we can sit down on many, many sofas, many, many front porches, backyards, and really get some things. But one thing I want to say is we talked about a town hall, and that is in the works. What we plan to do over the next 100 days is meet with stakeholders, have these conversations, take a look at some spreadsheets and take a look at some contracts, take a look at what's in place, figure out what our capacity is. As I mentioned before, we're going to do some roundtables for these listening sessions. And so we'll be coming to a city near some of you. And we will try to have it as a hybrid situation, if you will, perhaps. Maybe we can set up some virtual roundtables through your platform and through your show. And like you said, have the open. But then what we will do, top of January or so, when we, kind of wrap up, we'll report the findings in a in-person town hall meeting and just talk about it. And my plan and my goal is to do that every January, that in January, which would be the middle of the fiscal year, it'll be the planning for the next fiscal year, that we would meet with stakeholders and really lay out the successes that we have achieved together and talk about some of the things that we have on the horizon as well.
Excuse me, did you say plan? Okay, all right, shots.
Woo, it'd be nice to get one of those. Let me ask this question from Ashley C. And you don't have to go specifics here, obviously, but what's interesting, Ashley asked, can we implement naming rights at the stadium like Pitbull has recently done at FIU? I'll ask you maybe in a different way. How challenging in the state of Florida is doing what they did, and is that possible at Florida A&M University?
Yeah, it's definitely possible. Naming rights and large sponsorships, that is something that we will take a look at. I know that we've had relationships with several third parties. I know that there's several different thoughts about third parties. We have to see how that works or why it didn't work in the past and how we move forward. But what happens in relationships like that, particularly at institutions like ours, where we are thin in staff, and because fulfillment is even more important than securing the deal, right? Stewarding the relationship and being able to prove out performance year over year, because there's value that these entities are investing in. But that's where these third parties, that's all they do, right? And they are like a brokerage firm where they have several different entities that they're doing it for. And so for some of them, not necessarily for talent, right, or for personalities or celebrities, as they did at the FIU stadium, but definitely for Fortune 50, Fortune 100, Fortune 500 companies, they are representing those brands at multiple sporting venues, right? And so it's different when they are bringing a property like ours, a sports property like Florida A&M, to the table, along with all of the other successful sports properties that they have, right? So again, we've got to take a look at that. The Pitbull piece, it's going to work for, it's Miami, right? And that's what we've got to look at in terms of Tallahassee, in terms of the capital city, in terms of the Panhandle, the Big Bend area, in terms of our fan base, our stakeholders, and who we are as it relates to the audience, if you will, that these companies are investing in. And so once we establish a baseline, I don't want to just pull something out of the air or say, yeah, we can do that without having the data, because there may be representatives of some of these companies that are listening to your show or that will listen to your show. And I want the opportunity to sell into their mission, sell into their goals, but also be able to present that on behalf of President Beard, our board of trustees, our foundation board, and as it relates to what we are producing, our student body leadership is going to be very important, that we hear from them and we understand what their commitment is to, the student experience under their leadership, and how we can then help to be of value and to provide value and add value to the goals that they have for the student body as well.
I didn't even realize this. Thanks to Royal Miriam. How about this? Number 19, Xavier Smith. Just talk about what a weekend for that number 19, right? Yes. Xavier Smith doing his thing on Sunday.
What a story.
Oh man, the numbers.
You talking about a journey? Hey, you talking about a journey? Boy, that's one.
I didn't even know the whole. I didn't know the whole story until I went back and reread the article from 2023 about his journey with Amazon and how he was out of school for a year. And I was like, wow, that's so awesome. Appreciate you sharing that. All right, so I know I said I wasn't going to talk about requests, but only because I love Earl, and I know Earl wants to know. One of two options: the Hill or the Cannon. 80 Suggs, which is more likely? How about this? I ask you that: which is more likely to come back? Not saying it will, but which is more likely? What's more possible for Earl? This is just for Earl.
I need to dig in and see. I need to have a conversation and see where we are. I mean, I grew up, the season tickets that I have, or my husband and I have in our names, are my parents' season tickets. So the Cannon, I grew up with the Cannon, and the Hill, I've, there's been a lot. Kelvin, don't put me out there like that. I've got to get some understanding and some permissions as it relates to what the rules are. Earl, I've had my fair share of walking with the fire marshal and the health department and, all of these people. So we just got to figure out what ingress and egress policies that are there and just see how we can make it work. So I spoke about solutions, solution focused and results oriented. Solution may look a little different, but we definitely will take a look.
I'm going to read that, Earl, to say it's more likely to get the Cannon. You're more likely to get the Cannon back, Earl.
No, I didn't say that.
No, hey, don't put your 2 cents in it. She answered that perfectly.
Just rewind. We'll edit
I've got to speak on both of those. I've got to speak to plant operations and maintenance, and the fire risk management and the fire marshal, and see where we are and what we can do.
Simpler times back in the day. You just roll the Cannon out there. Just simpler times, man. Boom.
Hey,
with
by the way,
real ammunition. No, we would drive to Moultrie, Georgia, to actually get the ammunition and the cannon from the base to bring the cannon back. We then went to a simulated cannon that was kind of like a super duper firecracker, and that didn't work. But it's a whole thing, managing how many ships. Because now, when I was here the first time, you tried to manage the number of shells or the number of cannon, the ammunition that you had. And sometimes we might get close to running out because we scored, more times than we had cannon, ammo for. So it's definitely something. Going back to the beginning and the earlier questions, knowing what happens, how the sausage is made is a whole nother thing for sure.
It means something, right? It means something. One of the, and so I love one of my classmates, Marcus. He comes down all the way from Macon, Georgia. And this is an interesting question, because while you have these two different groups, right? And we want to reach out to what's close to us. There is a bit of and I've heard it, a bit of a disconnect for the folks who come from out of town. How do you plan to bridge that? How do we bridge that where we are able to reach not only the folks that are within that hour radius of the stadium, but also the folks who come in, the folks who come out of town with some of the challenges that we often hear about? How do you propose, or just maybe just your thoughts on working to make sure that experience is enjoyable for everyone, out of town Rattlers as well as the more local Rattlers?
Sure. And I know that there is conversation about what it takes to get into Tallahassee, right? But I think that as we look at the momentum that has been built with the winning seasons of our football team, the fact that we're having these conversations where we have a winning streak right at home, we've got to really just take a look at the fact that Tallahassee is a football town in the fall. And Tallahassee, like I said in another interview, if we have more weddings and family reunions and events that are happening in Tallahassee throughout the entire year, then legislative session, graduation, and football season may get a little relief, because our cousins and neighbors and parents and grandparents that work in the hospitality industry, particularly in our hotels, they need to get paid on June 27th, the same way that they get paid on September 19th or October 19th or whatever day it is. And in order for these for-profit entities to make their budgets and be able to pay, they've got to project out and figure out how they are going to keep the lights on and how they are going to pay the people that work there every day of the year, because the hotel never closes. Never closes. They are always open. And so those are just things just within the hospitality industry. But as we look at the comparisons, you're not flying into Tuscaloosa unless you're flying in on your own plane. You're not flying into Athens, Georgia, unless you are flying in on your own plane. You're flying into Atlanta. You are then, you are renting a car, or you're driving past Atlanta to then go to Athens. You're flying into Birmingham, and then you're driving over to Tuscaloosa, and you are paying to be there for that experience to the tune of 80,000 people. So what we're looking at is how we create that experience for 20 or so thousand people that we have inside Bragg Stadium. And with the hotel rates, it's just like the church national convention or the fraternity or the sorority national convention, the whatever other social organization. Is just like travel ball for our kids. It's just like, because gone are the days of $89 and $95 and $100 a night, even for youth sports. We have that conversation all the time as it relates to travel ball, and that's well over 5 nights, right? Or 5 weekends. When you're talking about travel ball, you are traveling all year long. You're traveling fall ball, you're traveling spring ball, you're traveling summer ball, you're traveling 4 and 5 nights, and you're going through whatever travel company and you're paying it week in and week out. But it's the investment that we're making. And so we've just got to have the conversations. We've got to then present the package. We've got to sell the value. The teams are doing their parts. The coaches are doing their part. And so what we've got to do is create that experience that's going to be worth it, right? For you. And even if you can, Marcus, as we talk about, coming in for 4 and 5 times, well, if you can't, or if we run out of gas by the 5th or the 6th game, because we've done it before. We've seen years where we had 6 home games, and that 6th home game is the week before Florida Classic, and we are bare bones. Well, that's not the time to go to the community. That's not the time to go to the 850 because we depend on them, and we say, well, let's just make it a youth day, or let's just do this. And we don't want the local community to be an afterthought. We want to think about them on the front end the same way that we think about people. I want people to come from all over the world to a FAMU game. And that if there are Rattlers that are in Germany or wherever they are, because that's where they're living, that at least one game, that game may be homecoming, or it may be the Hall of Fame weekend, or it may be whatever weekend that is. And so we are thinking beyond 850, but we can't make 850 an afterthought either, because we need them in Lawson on a Thursday or on a Monday night. And that's where we're talking about being in the community, not just for football, but we want to pack out all of our venues and have standing room only. And that's really, when I speak about the community and the 850, we want you to be able to run down to Tallahassee from Thomasville or Bainbridge. If we're going to Bainbridge to eat steaks, I know we can come from Bainbridge to go to a game. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I gotta check that out. I roll with Kelvin. Kelvin's people. They be rolling up to the across the state line to go eat steaks. Kelvin, that one resonated with you, didn't it, Kelvin? Huh?
Hey, back when I was in school, I may have crossed the line for other reasons.
Woo! All right, AD, I'm gonna get you out of here with one final one here. Jens P ask about what are your thoughts on facility upgrades, specifically baseball, softball, other non-revenue sports? I know we recently seen some upgrades with our tennis court facilities. That was awesome, but yeah, we see what's out there with baseball and softball. What are your thoughts?
That's a great question. Definitely, as we take a look at those 2 championship programs that you mentioned there, again, we've still got to go. I've still got to go back and speak with Mr. Talton, speak with University Construction, Facilities, and Planning. What's already in the works? What is the university master plan? Where does athletics fit into that? What are the priorities? I know that we definitely are housing the beautiful facilities and the upgrades that have come in terms of the villages and the towers and the new 700 bed that's about to come online. Well, where do we fit? I've been a part of conversations in my previous stop at the university where we did talk about that, but where are we now? And if there is opportunity for us to take a look at that, what we want to do is take a look at what we really need it to be or want it to be 5-10 years from now. Not that we are just, and we will, there are some things that we'll take a look at as you look at backstop padding, if you look at, some of the everyday things that come there. Our batting cages, softball is getting a new cage there. Baseball has a fairly new one there, but there are many things that we need done, right? The field at baseball, we've got to take a look at that. Practice field for football, got to take a look at that. But as it relates to upgrades to facilities, I don't want to necessarily just look at upgrades. If it's new, we want to be prepared if Oprah or if Warren Buffett and others that are pouring into universities. We want to be prepared to have the answer as a university, because as I mentioned before, it's the Florida A&M University Department of Intercollegiate Athletics. It's not just FAMU Athletics at 1835 out there, Gibson Way. So that we have a collective answer, that we know how that fits into the overall facilities plan. What are they looking to do at other areas on campus that may then also be a resource for athletics, or athletics can be a resource for them. And so while I know that that's not a direct answer to your question, I do recognize it as a need. What I'd like for us to be able to do is have a solid approach to that. Have a facilities plan for athletics that we at least know how much it costs, to not just add on here and still not have a locker room for these two sports. But then how much is it to actually have a locker room, have a meeting room, have a training room, have everything that we really need to be an excellent and competitive, best-in-class Division I FCS program?
Great answer.
Awesome stuff. How you feeling?
Feeling good. Feeling good. I just want to thank everyone for your support. Thank everyone for your energy, all of your well wishes. Thank you. And as we say in the church, thank you for what you've done, what you're going to do, and what you're doing right now. But we're going to do it together. And I'm not naive. For over 20 years, I have chosen to work in an industry that is powered by the passion of people. And so there are debates that go on forever. There are people that walk out on the debate. There are people that do all of these things, but then they still come back and cheer for their team. At the end of the day, if people wear me out one day, or love on what we're doing the next day, I know that we all want for FAMU to be best in class. We all want 14 championships in all of our sports. We all want to grow the sports. We all want what we're talking about in terms of the 6-time #1 public HBCU. We want that as it relates to the championship perspective of Florida A&M athletics as well.
I'm going to echo the sentiments of Rocky from last night. With that said, that excitement and that good feeling, Kenya, that good feeling that all y'all are having in the chat room. Now y'all go ahead. Hold on, let me see. Where's my flyer at? Where's my little donation QR code, Kelvin? Do I still have it? I don't think this has been a minute since I flashed it, but you know where to go find. I don't even know if I still have it. I mean, oh, wait a minute. There it is. Hold up. Boom. All right, right there. All that warm feeling that y'all have, 19. Some version of $19, $19, 1,919. What Rocky say? 19,190. However you playing your numbers. I saw it. Whoever put that in there made me want to run out to the store. Did I miss the window? There it is. There's the QR code. Go ahead and drop a donation now while it's fresh. Exactly. Mr. Campbell said 19, hashtag 1919. Whatever you got to do, make the donation now. So I'm going to echo Brother Rocky and Mr. Campbell and Coach Cole from yesterday on their show, and encourage Rattler Nation to donate now. The Rattler Athletic Fund is right where you can make that donation. And, we start now. We're not waiting. Right. We're not waiting for yesterday. We're not waiting for October 7th. It's now. Now it's go time, Rattlers. Y'all excited? Let's go. It's go time.
Hey, Bryan, you made a reference when you was talking to Angela earlier, and I had this line I wanted to get in, right? And it's not my line. It comes from Dr. Valencia Matthews. And my daughter goes to ice camp, and this is her second year going to ice camp. And one of the things she talked about when she's talking to the parents, she talks about how important ice camping is to her, and she has this line where she says, If something is important to you, it should show. You should act like it. So all you Rattlers out there, y'all say y'all love FAMU and we brag different. If that's the case, it's supposed to show. Make sure we donate, support. You feeling good? Let's support our athletic department.
And on behalf of our coaches and our student athletes, thank you. Thank you for your donations, because it definitely goes directly to the experience and motivating them. And so thank you on behalf of them, truly.
Want to be respectful of your time. I know you had a
Yes,
long
definitely.
day.
Long day.
And if I say so myself, friend, you slayed it. You know, you always do, because you're talking from a point of knowledge, and it just oozes out. So we're glad to have you. I'm so happy. Any way we can contribute, help. This platform is available to you. Anything, anything I can do to assist you, you got it.
I appreciate it. And to everyone that is in the area or vicinity of Helene, just please stay safe. Our student athletes are safe, and our coaches and everyone is on top of that. The administration of the department definitely is all hands on deck with that. And so thank you all so much, and you all stay safe. Fangs up.
You too. 80 Suggs, fangs up. All right. Be well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. The story 1A for the week. The ultimate interview. Just a great 72 hours of conversations and interviews, starting from the press conference to shout out to Germany Bozeman. I saw Germany do a good interview with 80 Suggs. And then, of course, Mr. Campbell and Rocky and Coach Cole. And, very cool. Very cool, man.
Really good week for FAMU, man.
Man, good week. Great week for FAMU.
Yeah.
Even though no football game, but still a great week for FAMU.
Yeah. Yeah.
Still a great week for FAMU. Speaking of, I think, obviously, the basketball programs had their media day back on what was it, Thursday?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Thursday and Friday. So kind of the SWAC put out some imaging kind of when they did the media day, kind of a SWAC Hoops 2K25. I think I retweeted it from the SWAC's webpage. You can kind of see some of the artwork and everything they did, not only with with Coach Gordon, who, by the way, just confirming, I talked to Coach Gordon earlier. Coach Gordon will be joining us next Wednesday. We had her originally scheduled for this Wednesday, but with the hurricane and everything happening, we kind of moved it to next Wednesday. And we'll also have Live for Hoops. Livia Antilla will be joining us next week as well. And I was trying to ignore it, Kelvin, until you posted that. I was trying to ignore it. And the men's basketball program, Coach Creary, and the guys, they had theirs on Friday. So good stuff, man. Just in case you missed the preseason predicted orders for the women, we were preseason predicted 5th with actually some first place votes. I think there were like 3 or 4 first place votes. And the men, they got us predicted 11th. But how many? It's 10 teams that get into the tournament this year. Is that right?
Correct. Right. It ain't but 12 teams in the league.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we're going to the tournament.
Hey, to that point, as soon as I saw that, man, and this is not me being a homer here, Coach know what he's doing now. Coach is a winner. He coming from a winner's back pedigree, and he's won pretty quickly everywhere he's been. It's not that difficult to go from 11th to like 5th or 6th in the middle of the pack in the SWAC. And I'm looking at his roster. So I'm calling it now because the expectations are so low. I agree with you. Not only are we getting in the tournament, we're going to be like in the middle, no worse than like 6. You know, we're not going to be the 10th seed. So with that, I'm predicting Coach gonna mess around and be coach of the year in the SWAC. I'm calling it now.
I was talking to my my fellow coach at our high school program who coached with Coach Creary. You know, I mentioned my guy who actually coached, and if you recall, Coach coming on the show and talking about knowing the percentages of what guys shoot. Well, I was talking to my fellow coach, Coach Cardi. Shout out to Coach Andre. And when he was at St. Thomas, he was the one who did this. He did the charting on, and he told me, he said, y'all have no idea what you're about to see. It's going to be a totally different style than what probably 75% of the SWAC is going to be ready for. Mm-hmm. It is going to be up tempo. Guys are the ball is going to move so fast that so all I'm saying is this is going to be fun to watch. It's going to be fun. And the fact that if the guys listen and buy into what Coach is saying about when and where to shoot, it's going to be success. And I love the fact that he has some people who are familiar with his program and style. And so I'm telling you guys, I'm going to echo what you said. Coach of the year, you know, and look, I think last year Gordon would have got Coach of the year had it not been for the unbeaten season of Reed. I mean, come on now. Right. I mean, you know, and I know Grambling did really well, but come on, when you're preseason predicted dead last, and the fact that what Gordon, she walked in like 2 months before the start of the season.
Right.
I mean, who does that and then get to the final 8? So this year, man, I'm telling you, this is gonna be a fun basketball season, guys. I'm really excited about what the basketball season is going to bring.
I done beefed up on my gear, man. I'm gonna be looking sharp, boy. Basketball season.
Hey, there was a great link floating about, and I would give a shout out if I could remember it. But there was some great FAMU basketball merch that was, I mean, you know, you could have gotten some great pricing that was running out there. So, I mean, a great opportunity. Now's the time to load up on your FAMU basketball gear before the season starts. Because once November kicks around, don't be surprised if those sales go away. So now's the time to go get that FAMU basketball gear. Let's shift over to volleyball while we can. We had some players of the week in the Southwestern Athletic Conference from this past week. Tinos Galamez was defensive player of the week in the SWAC, and the setter of the week, Alexandra Koliva, was the setter of the week. You can see 97 assists and 24 digs for Koliva. Galmez with 60 digs and 11 assists last week. Let's see. The Rattlers came out of the Raging Cajun Classic 1-2, highlighted by a 3-0 loss to Southeastern Louisiana and a 3-2 setback to Louisiana. The Louisiana one, that was the one that went to a 5th set. We lost that 5th set 15-13. That was a winnable match. But we came up a little bit short, but really proud of the effort that we saw. Koliva totaled 52 assists at Louisiana, the most recorded in the SWAC this season. She had a 30 assist performance versus JSU, that's Jacksonville State, in the most recorded, let me read this right. The seniors' 30-assist performance versus JSU is the most recorded in a 3-set match in the SWAC this season. Galmez recorded 20 assists in the win, the most recorded in a 3-set match in the SWAC this season, and added 27 versus Louisiana, tying the 3rd most recorded in the SWAC this season. Brooklyn Thomas finished with a team-high 42 points. Kalia Todd recorded a team-best 16 blocks, 14 assisted. And Brooklyn Watts paced the Rattler offense with 37 kills. A couple other quick notes regarding our volleyball ladies. Brooklyn Watts has recorded double-digit kills in all but one match this season. She has a season-high 18 still versus Incarnate Word. Watts also leads the team with 3 double-doubles, while Jada Rhodes and Kaliva each have 2. Coach Gokhan is now 7 wins away from 100 victories as the head coach at FAMU. And Koliva needs just 17 assists to reach 500 assists in her 2-year career with the Rattlers. And the Rattlers are 8-5 on the season. And
got
guess
Jackson
what?
State.
I was gonna say it's that time of year.
Yeah.
The Rattlers are gonna be in Mississippi taking on Jackson State on Friday, 7:00 Eastern, 6 Central. Looks like Jackson State is going to be running that on their Jackson State Sports Network. I'm telling you now, that's gonna cost you about $20. They like to they like to, I ain't gonna call it overcharging, but if you were to travel to the game, you'd probably pay $20 to go. But yeah, it's gonna be about $20, folks. Maybe even close to 30, knowing Jackson State. Then on Sunday, they travel to Mississippi Valley State for a 1 p.m. Eastern match. That is going to be on video as well. But with Valley, that is going to be on YouTube. That's going to be on the Valley State Sports Network. So you'll be able to watch the Mississippi Valley State for free Sunday. And then the JSU Sports Network will carry the game on Friday. I'm sorry, Edwin. Yeah, Jacksonville. I was reading off the press release, Jackson. I don't know. They said JSU, and then I realized, I was like, okay, whoever did that, they were trying to abbreviate Jacksonville State. But anyway. All right, yeah, $20 is crazy, but hey, it is what it is. Right? Scores from the weekend. Football scores from the weekend.
Ooh, there's some big numbers up there, boy. Some big numbers.
I've bragged about that first score about as often as I could, Kelvin. I'm gonna take one last opportunity because there might be some Wildcats watching. I told you. I told you. Where you at, Theron? Bring me my money. Bring me my money. No, aren't you glad we didn't make that bet? Clark 38, Bethune 37. Now, I will say this though. I don't know if Bethune is going to be smart enough to ride with him, but if they ride with that quarterback, Cam Ransom, that dude, he's going to be a player in the SWAC Player of the Year because he had a great day. Not only throwing, I mean, what Bethune did in the first quarter, this is how crazy this game was. Ransom was 10 for 10, 220 yards in the first quarter. He led Bethune 4 scoring drives. Now, one of the drives was on a short field because Clark, on their first offensive possession, went like 3 and out, 4 and out, something like that. But 4 offensive possessions, 4 drives in the first quarter. They scored 28 points in the first quarter. And then it just went downhill from there for Bethune. They got to figure that out. But that quarterback, though, he's nice. I think David Wright is might be the best quarterback. No, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I mean, I love Daniel Richardson, but no, David Wright is the best quarterback in HBCU football right now until somebody else passes him. Statistically, it shows. But again, that's all I'm gonna say. I mean, just let's pay attention and see whether Coach Woody over there at Bethune is smart enough to stick with that guy. Any other games on the board, Kelvin, that caught your eye from the SWAC weekend?
Texas Southern and Lamar. Texas
Winnable
Southern
game.
was very they were very competitive in this game. You couple that with their previous wins, and I'm interested to see this week. This is kind of solidify how I feel about them this week, what they do as SWAC play stars. But yeah, that one stood out. Alcorn getting blown out. I mean, come on, McNeese, come on. So I'm not really feeling good about the West. I watched the JSU Grambling game. I'm not as high on Grambling after this as people only saw the score. If you watch the game, if you watch the game.
Oh, offensively, they're not. Offensively, it ain't pretty.
Hey,
but
6 turnovers, and I would say only 2 of them was forced. Four of them would just make no damn sense kind of turnovers, right?
But the fact that their defense has, whatever the reason, forced or just capitalized on 11 turnovers over the past 2 games.
Them Division II games, I can't do it.
That wasn't a Division II game. That Texas A&M Commerce was.
That's a transitional school.
Well, but they I mean, what do you say?
They in transition.
They were a good Division II school that is on their way to being a decent FCS pro.
I'm not poo-pooing it. What I'm saying is, I'm not a prisoner of the moment.
I got you.
Just like I said with Jackson State, I wasn't a prisoner of the moment. I had seen who they had played, and so I didn't think. As a matter of fact, I predicted that Grambling would be tough because they had just played Southern, which is a rival, and now you got to get back up and travel on the road against someone who ain't scared of you. So I think this week Grambling has that same issue. They had that great win. Now, if I'm not mistaken, they got to play Texas Southern.
No, Prairie View. It's the State Fair Classic this weekend.
Yeah. They got one.
Who should have beaten Southern, but you end up losing to Southern in overtime.
So I'm interested to see if they can sustain, their competitive play. Because that's the last thing that happens, right? When you've lost for a long time, you have to learn how to win and to play every week. That's the last thing that usually comes for a team trying to make that transition. So I think Grambling might struggle this week.
Yeah, that'll be interesting what they do, because Grambling's getting, I mean, I've seen the rankings have Grambling in a lot of people's polls and rankings. Grambling is up there. They're getting a lot of love, a lot of press. They've won 3 games in a row. Now you got to go. Now you got to play a rival in a big classic game on a neutral site.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, big game. Let's see. Edwin asked me, why do I think Bethune will stick with him? Why don't I think? Because Bethune has used 4 quarterbacks in 4 games. That's why. I mean, you go look at their stats. They've used 4 quarterbacks over 4 games. And so I don't know.
And what's their record?
0-4.
Okay.
0-4.
Tells you everything you need to know. They got to solidify that position.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Let me see. Okay, here we go. Schedule for the week. There's the standings, of course. SWAC play was supposed to start this week for us, but it does for everyone but Southern, and who's missing? Southern and somebody else aren't playing this weekend.
We're not playing.
Well, okay. Well, obviously us, Alabama A&M, Southern. We originally were though.
Yeah.
But because they were this was a weekend where there was supposed to be 5 SWAC games this weekend. So I was trying to think of the 2 teams who weren't playing. But anyway, there's the standings on the left in the East. Alabama State traveling to Bethune-Cookman. Alcorn and Valley, 40th anniversary of what many people call one of the greatest games of the century back in 1984 between Alcorn and Valley. That was back when Jerry Rice and Willie Top were throwing the ball around for some like 60 points a game or some ridiculous stat, 600 yards plus. I mean, it was ridiculous back then.
Yeah, no wonder we forgot it's UAPB.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Thank you. UAPB. Of course, Prairie View and Grambling in the State Fair Classic. That game will be on ESPN Plus. That'll be worth watching.
Interesting game.
Yeah.
That and JSU TSU.
Hey, look, is that a particular look? Jackson State better be ready. Because I think Texas Southern is capable.
Oh, absolutely.
Isn't that amazing that we thought like so little of Texas Southern?
Yeah.
We didn't really know what they had.
Yeah. They're supposed to be like Valley.
But I will say this though. The previous coach did spend 5 years recruiting guys. And that's why the injury that Body had hurt them so much last year, because really last year was supposed to be the year that they took a step that I thought that team last year was a 7-8 win potential team. And if you still have the carryover of seniors and experienced players who've been in the program for 3-4 years, Chris Dishman is walking into a cupboard full. He's walking into a house, and maybe all they just need is to hear a different voice and coached up a little bit different.
Discipline, yeah.
Yeah. Who you going with here, Kelvin? Let's start at the bottom. Jackson State, Texas Southern. Who you got?
That's a tough one, man. I believe JSU is not going to have 6 turnovers, and they'll find a way to win by 3. I'm going out on a limb with that one, though.
Yeah, I'm going the opposite. I'm going Texas Southern at home. I think they just strike me right now under Chris Dishman that they let a game slip out of their hands, and because they were winning that game for more than 3/4 of the game, I think pretty much all the way until the end. So I'm going Texas Southern by a field goal. State Fair Classic, Prairie View, Grambling. There are numbers that support this game. This game is one of those streaky games where somebody has beaten you guys in the chat room, somebody has beaten somebody practically like 5 or 6 years in a row, and then the other school wins like 4 or 5 years. I don't know whose turn it is right now. I think it's
Grambling got the defense creating turnovers. Prairie View having trouble at the quarterback position. I got to go with Grambling.
I'm gonna go Grambling too. I'll go Grambling too. Alcorn Valley.
This Valley first home game, right?
First home game, new turf, new scoreboard, all the big lights, 40-year anniversary of one of the greatest games in the century, the 20th century.
Where Kelvin caught at?
Hey, look, I'm going to go Valley. Shock the world. Valley by a field goal. 45-yard field goal as time expires. I'm going with Valley.
Man, Valley is disappointed me. They looked so bad last week. I got to go Alcorn.
I'm not picking this in my picks contest, though. I'm not that confident. I don't trust it. I don't trust him that much. I'm sorry. Alabama State at Bethune. I will continue betting against Bethune.
Me too.
For as long as I can.
Well, they don't have a quarterback position so resolved. Both teams got that problem, but the difference is Alabama State play defense.
Yeah. So that's our run around the SWAC, our SWAC schedule. I think we have captured. Oh, wait a minute. Earl just said that he thinks the Bethune game is postponed too. Oh, really?
Okay. Yeah, I hadn't seen it, but okay.
I hadn't seen that. That's interesting. I wonder if that may be more of a product of Alabama State trying to get down to Bethune, because the path of the storm is going to go north into that area between Alabama and Georgia, between 85 or between 65 and 75.
Well, that was they were busting it. They flying. It don't matter. They're gonna fly around it anyway.
They're probably not gonna fly. You think they're gonna fly from Montgomery? Nah,
they get state money. So.
Oh, well, there you go.
It's possible.
Yeah, it is. It is. All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, I think we hit on everything, man. Anything we left off?
Well, I'll just mention golf had a tournament.
Oh yeah,
I believe, and cross country. We want to show all our sports since we ain't talked about it. We ain't had Coach on yet. Make sure we give him a little coverage.
Yeah, I don't. I know they participated in the HU Howard USF Intercollegiate match. The Wolfpack Intercollegiate, that was supposed to be earlier last week. That match got canceled in Raleigh, North Carolina. They don't play again until Greenville, North Carolina. Matter of fact, that's Monday. So so Ironwood Collegiate Classic in Greenville, North Carolina, September 30th, October 1st. You mentioned cross country. Let's see what cross country has going on. Let's see. The UNF Cross Country Invitational. As a team, FAMU finished 6th out of 13 schools. That was a invitational at North Florida in Jacksonville. This past weekend was supposed to be a meet at Emory-Riddle in Daytona Beach. That was canceled. This weekend, they had a pre-regional match. That was canceled. Next meet won't be until October 11th over at Appalachia Regional Park, hosted by Florida State. And then before you know it, go ahead.
I was going to say, no, just usually they host the SAA meets there, the conference meets there.
And that's going to be the same. That's going to be the site of the SWAC championship is back in Tallahassee.
Yep. So one of the best cross country courses in the country.
Yeah. And tennis. The tennis team had a great first day.
Yeah.
Where a perfect day on day one, where everybody won.
And then I don't think nobody won the second day. Except Sarah Rankin I think she might have won. Then she got. I thought she got eliminated in the semifinals.
She advanced one round past where everyone else did, and then she got eliminated.
Right.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, not the best second and third day that we had hoped for.
Right.
All right. And with that, I think we've covered it all.
Yes. Be safe, everyone. I'm gonna try to hunker down. I got my generators out. I'm still praying, that the storm kind of shift one way or other and take us out of the heart of the cone. But everybody be safe, be blessed, and check in after the storm is over. And I'll see if I can get out and kind of give some reports once it's safe to do so.
All right. Thank you to everybody. Thank you to the Hall of Famer himself, Rick Kinsey. Thank you to our new athletic director, VP IA, Angela Suggs. We thank her for coming on the show. Thank you, Rattler Nation.
Thank
you guys
y'all.
Share the show, however and wherever you watch it, on the Facebook pages, the YouTube. Those of you, I forgot I'm running IG Live. Hey, what's up? Everybody on IG Live. You guys share the show. Make sure you guys are all following us on the social media handles at O&G StrikeZone. Just thank you for your continued support of the program. As you see, Marcus had to step away, had to deal with a family emergency. So just kind of keep Marcus and his family in your prayers. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. And he'll be back in next week with us, I'm sure. But that's going to do it. Kelvin, you guys be safe. The family in Tallahassee, in the Big Bend and surrounding areas, you guys be safe. Hunker down. We'll keep you in our thoughts and prayers. And make sure you're following. Those of you, make sure you're following us on social media. We'll tweet out updates and things that we see regarding what's happening in the Tallahassee community. So looking forward to it, guys. That's going to do it for Marcus Green and Kelvin Rozier. I'm Bryan Fulford. Thank you again, Rattlers. Be safe, be strong, have a great week, and we'll come back together and do it again next week. Peace out.